sale on March 7th. Be a live sale here at the farm. We call Excellence Creates Opportunity. This will be our 25th year of doing sales and being in operation, and really look forward to this set. I think there's 80 to 90 pigs that we'll offer with a wide range from anywhere from June through I think honestly all on into the fall and the end of October, with a lot of versatility to this set.
Yeah, I really appreciate the chance. We've been trying to do this for a couple, 3 years, and I mean he's a long ways east, but it's worth the trip, and we're glad we got to do it. Man, Garrett has put together a really good program here, and he and his dad have been in this thing a long time. You sell Ralph Seaman a long time ago, and so again, they're just continuously making better each and every year. Man, they're hitting the sales season and down south and hitting in a very big time way, and these hogs are hitting premium sale at the majors. So again, just because he's far east does not mean he's not mainstream. These hogs are very, very good. We have probably this set probably has the widest variety of size of anything I've worked. I mean, some very, very big pigs of very high quality to go early, and those things are getting hard to find. And we got them that'll string right on down through the fall, and truthfully, some of these gilts are right on through Louisville in November, and I mean in a big time way, not just qualifiers, but I mean something you can grab a backdrop with. I think pretty easily. Very good quality set, all crosses, 80 plus head going to be offered in that live sale format. If we can help assist you at all and try to guide you a direction that would make a better project for you, be glad to do so. Thanks for looking in.
17-4 on the stick there. That's going to be a happy hour all rise. Mom would have been the Reserve Grand Breeding Gilt there at Virginia State Fair a couple years ago, and has done a good job generating for us. Happy hour pigs I thought were pretty neat. My travels there last summer judging a couple shows was a boar we wanted to use a few times. I think that's a tall-shouldered, elevated one that's got good muscle shape. She's stout about her head, and I think it reads a little bit greener today, but I think one that's just going to continue to feed and right angles, right proportions to be good there. And I think you could get this one into July or on into August if you'd like.
Yeah, another one just looks like a really good feedability. Again, just on that correctness and squareness is there, and she's got the extra heaviness of structure. She's got the really good, neat kind of look up front, and she just needs bulked, and really just go ahead and kind of pour the cold with that one and just let her kind of mass overnight. I think in her own pen in a week's time, I think you're going to be amazed at what kind of bulk you can kind of get out of her, and you're going to have a lot of enjoyment with one like this, because these greener, more immature, good-looking ones like that usually are the ones that, as they mature, just get better weekly, and then when you top out as a heavyweight in the end, which I think she should do very well with the extension she's got in elevation, it's all going to come together, and again, that's going to be a three-dimensional hog with a really good kind of a look. That one is 17-4.
Another one, I think real big on pounds, but 17-4 be a happy hour, all rise. Mom would have been a Reserve Grand Breeding Gilt at the Virginia State Fair a couple years ago. Always done a really nice job. When I was sorting some shows last summer, the happy hours pigs just continue to surface just from a fundamentals of just being really neat about their look and their build. And I think this gilt's extremely stout featured. She's stout in her skull. She's really opened up in her chest. You get up on the top side, and she's got a ton of muscle shape. And I think she leaves you square with a big pin set, 17-4.
Yeah, this one here is one that, again, sizable on pounds, probably the biggest one we've looked at to this particular point. And, man, that's a good pig. She's all black. Again, it's immaterial. Just a good pig's a good pig, and she proportions really good. That is a dense, stout-featured one, a good kind of skull shape, very good as far as being opened up in her rib cage with really good kind of turn of center rib and a very correct kind of chest floor, elbow, and knee up front. She's one that's, again, just everything fits and balances with good feedability. There's not a lot of guesswork what she's got, because she is stout and dense already. She's not too far off of being able to just run her right into a jackpot show as a market gilt, but she's got the kind of skeleton you can push on her and pack more punch in her with more protein yet. And I think you're going to be in a very, very good kind of shape to get that accomplished. Really good kind of a bigger gilt. That's 17-5.
17-7 belted gilt there. Another one that I think's a pretty neat prospect. Be a happy hour all rise. mom would be a litterman, or sorry, her mother would be the reserve overall breeding guild at Virginia State Fair a couple years ago. I think this is a stout skulled, big backed one there that's got a big pin set and really opened up in her chest. I think these hogs probably fit a good July setting, if I'm being honest. I think if you wanted to feed a little bit farther on, I think you could, but I think got the right indicators, muscle shape's good.
Yeah, a good kind of a medium-sized hog on pounds there for what Garrett's offering, and I guess I probably would have judged that mother of that one there in Virginia a couple of years ago. Come think of it, you mentioned Virginia. Yeah, man, she's dense and stout featured. That one is really, really bold skulled, very, very heavy structured, good turn and good angle. There's a lot of hog there, but I think very, very manageable. She's more moderate in her kind and more dense in her feature and bolder in her bone work. And, and that's fine. If you like to feed him just a shade slower, I think that's where she's going to be the best because, man, she's really advanced with the amount of top shape and loin edge she's working in her. Great big stifled hog, but still not out of bounds and still able to flex her hock, and she still stays good and true and square in her hock, good in her ankle behind. But, again, just probably go middle pace and slower is probably where she's going to be the very best and optimize all the good that she's got in her. She's a little different feeding style than a few of them we've walked through here, and that's fine. A lot of people like to roll on with them. Some people like to yank on them and go slow, and this is one that you just go a little dab slower because she's got a lot to her. That one is 17-7.
20-2 crumbed up male there. It's going to be a culture shock. Picture this, next intention never before. So grandma will be a mate to the champion dark at San Antone. Mother, this is her second litter. She's off to a real hot start. Sold a male pig in Texas for 20 this fall out of her, and she has us excited about what her future can be, and just puts a lot of good things together. I think she's pretty far-reaching. I think this one's extremely stout in its skull shape, real wild looking up front, but yet just heavy duty, and I think still balancing proportions off to the side extremely well.
Yeah, this one here has a lot of outlying pieces for the barrow ring that are real intriguing. That is a really exotic, cocky-looking kind of a hog out of his front end. Again, awesome kind of a neat sort of a jawline, but really has length of neck out in front of his blade. That's going to keep that one really good looking coming in the gate. He's greener in his pattern. His elevation, length of cannon bone is very good. His length of front's very good, and he's not a short-bodied hog, but he's not long. I think everything fits and balances. He's got some pliability starting through the center portion of his body cavity. Huge set of bones, a really good running gear, and he's very green and immature, and his muscle pattern looks like one you can really pour the cold to and feed. He looks to me like a killer kind of a heavyweight when he grows together. Is he a crip?
Yep, he'll be a crip, and we're actually going to get him fixed, so he'll be picked up after, unless they prefer to do it themselves, but we'll take care of that on our end.
Definitely intriguing one to pay attention to. Again, don't let the crip thing bother you. That's all over the place anymore, and they're getting very good. Vets are getting very good about getting those things worked on, so it shouldn't be a big issue at all. Really interesting pig right there. That's 20-2.
20-5 on the stick now. There'll be a culture shock. Picture this, next intention never before. So mom's been off to a really hot start there. She sold one for 20 for us there this fall, and this is her second litter. Has us pretty excited. I think these hogs have some features, some muscle, and then just skeletal correctness to a T. I think this gilt's really neat. She's proportioned really good. She's stout-featured, really stout in her skull, and then just real comfortable. I think a kind you could get out and jackpot a bunch and have a lot of fun with this summer.
Yeah, that's a neat pig, kind of middle size on pounds for the group he's offering, and man, that's a good hog. And the culture shocks have been real popular, and you almost can read what that pedigree is before he ever says it. With that kind of skull shape and the density of feature they got, they just have that very distinct look. And that is a very stout skulled, a generator looking kind of a female, a big set of bones, man. I mean, pound for pound, that's a heavy structured one from the body line down to be matching and maybe even surpassing what's above it. And that's okay to kind of get an outlying thing when the bones are that big, but they're still correct and the joints are clean, and that one is. she proportions with a lot of boxiness, a lot of boldness and stoutness. She's got the extra aesthetics of leg hair with that heaviness of structure. Going to be a real eye catcher when she hits the ring. And again, she's one at kind of middle of the road on frame size. She's not a way moderate one. She's not a real elevated slick one. She's just one that fits that middle of the road kind of balance with extras. And I think you get that much skull shape, bone work, boldness and density. Very, very intriguing kind of a piece there. Again, return on investment in sow prospect all day long for generating prospect to put back in your own herd. That's an interesting one right there, 20-5.
21-1 be a happy hour wide awake, and another one bigger on pounds there, a stout featured one there. I think he's got a good hip and a good hind leg. He's got a big forearm working in him, and it looks to be a good pig. I think that's going to continue to feed and grow and do the right things there. I think a July setting probably suits this pig very well.
Yeah, another one. Again, he's an all-black pig. He's got a little faded pigment there. I don't know if that's something that'll stay with him, or if you tan that out, I really don't know what his scenario is. And it really doesn't make a difference. It's a good pig underneath it. It's immaterial, but again, bigger one on pounds. That late June, 1st of July type of thing looks about right to me. And that's a good featured one. A very good skulled hog that has a neat kind of a jawline, but stoutness of feature. Very heavy structured. That is a big set of bones, big set of feet in there, correct, with strength of pastern. He's got some density built into his rib cage and density in his center. Very shapely along his loin edge with a lot of spread of muscle up high. He's a bold muscled hog behind, but handles it really well as far as his length of stride and able to flex up the way he needs to, and stays good and square with an abundance of stifle. Again, just kind of manage him, kind of middle pace and slower is probably where he's going to be the best type and kind wise. And he's the type that looks like a middle to an upper middle weight type of hog is where he's going to probably fit the very best as far as type and frame size. That's 21-1.
21-2 drops out. That's going to be another happy hour wide awake, and one that's very, very heavy boned and really runs uphill. He's got a big forearm working in him, and stout about his skull. And I think one that should certainly fit that July setting very, very nicely. I think one that's super comfortable off both ends of his skeleton there, offers you a neat look from the side.
Yeah, really nice pig there. Again, at bigger on pounds, and again, just kind of one of those solid, balanced, goof-proof ones that has the soundness and has the eye appeal, has the product, and all does it in the right proportion. A really good kind of skull shape and length of front. Cranks his head above his spine really comfortably. He's very good in his chest floor. Beautiful from the side. I really like his elevation up front and the way that the head carriage pops right out of the top of his blade. Everything blends behind his blade, good in his ham-loin junction. Everything fits with the right kind of smoothness and blend that you kind of like to see to make him balance and have that problem-free kind of look. Then you look down below, and man, he's good as far as the circumference of bone. That is a heavy boned hog for the body line down, good footed, true and square on his toes, coming and going. Everything heads north and south, and he does it in a real feedable type of fashion. He's not a skinny one by any means. There's the right kind of build and the right kind of stuff there, but man, you can really make that one bold and just basically feed lots of tons of power and bulk into that one. And I think he'll accommodate whatever you want to throw at him. Again, sizable in pounds, can roll out earlier. Really nice kind of a pig there. That is 21-2.
21-3 gilt drops out, and that's another happy hour wide awake, and another one I think very, very tall-shouldered, elevated one that's stout in her skull, big in her arm, and very, very comfortable and genuine in her skeleton. She's really level and long from the side. I think paints a neat picture, and I think one that suits a July setting very well.
Yeah, again, another sizable pig. If you need a good quality pig there to run earlier, you surely can do it. Again, a nice one that when they get her on the stick there and she gets her head popped up, she profiles really nicely. A good stout skulled hog that has some production to it, but still a good show ring kind of a look. Heavy structured kind of a pig up front. A good angle set out of her front end as far as being laid back in her shoulder. She's tall fronted, level designed, middle of the road on length of body, and good kind of reach and go. Flexes are extremely good, and again, the type and kind that again, just get her home on her own, and then just kind of bulk her up, just fatten her up, and getting her with more density and more boldness, because she's got all the basics that's going to hold all that together. It's just up to you to go ahead and kind of feed her with the right kind of protein. If you want to kind of push on one, she's the kind you can do that with. This one here is 21-3.
21-4 is going to be a solid black gilt here. Be a happy hour wide awake, and we've seen a couple of those. Another set that's bigger on pounds, but I think one that's really tall shouldered and bold in her forearm. She's stout in her features. She's bold in her back shape, stout in her mug, and I think these pigs are going to suit very well in that July setting for guys that are still looking there. I think this is a really sharp one off to the side, a very balanced and proportional gilt. Looks like the kind that's going to feed.
Yeah, that's the kind I've always termed goof-proof. You know that you just can't hardly mess them up unless you try, and then you better try hard, because there's a lot of good in that one that again I think is going to run a long ways. Getting a little bit, not one of the biggest ones, but bigger on pounds that you could definitely roll out earlier, and if you have a market gilt scenario to work with at your county, or obviously the jackpot circuit, several of them have that. She's got that kind of stuff to be able to go dual purpose that way. Good looking up front with stoutness of skull, very shapely down her top, and good interstifle shape behind. I'm impressed with, again, the proportions she's got, the look she's got, the boxier length of body with, again, the right kind of length off of both ends. She's heavy structured with really good kind of pop and tone from end to end with a neat kind of a look. Again, if it's your first time showing or feeding a pig, don't be afraid to feed one like this, because they're problem-free with extras. No excuses need to be made each day on that one. That one there is 21-4.
21-5 there on the stick now. It'll be a happy hour wide awake, and another one I think at a stout-headed one that's sharp-looking and really opened up in his chest, and gives you a really neat look to the side. A pretty cocky pig there that I think into that late July or plenty into August, I think he's certainly comfortable there. A really big forearm one there with really a good amount of shape, but still very, very just comfortable and athletic out here.
Yeah, another pig, kind of middle size for the group he's selling, and again, kind of target that middle type of summer type of deal, and down through the Midwest State Fair things. I think he should be very comfortable to get that done. He's really got shape, really got muscle, and that density. You're not going to get that thing to melt away. You can manipulate that deal and keep that kind of a look, that kind of skull shape and jawline. Very, very neat kind of a look up front. Square chested, still good in his elbow. All 8 toes head the right direction. Don't deviate at the ground at all. Watch him profile, that long-fronted kind of a look with stoutness of skull, with the type of middle-of-the-road length of body, and then a good kind of reach with a big old whopping stifle working in him. That's a shapely top and a bold kind of a hip, but still real manageable. Just you get a good stick on that one, crank that head, square him up, level him up. That's going to be a neat kind of a pig. Again, I think you can work your way there to a pen pretty quickly. That one is 21-5.
We got 21-7, be a happy hour wide awake. This is a gilt litter for this sow, and I think a really neat one there for July setting or June, because I think this pig, she's stout, she's got some growth to her, she's big in her forearm, and real comfortable in her skeleton. I think for the amount of muscle she offers, still paints a really neat picture from the side and balances and proportions up really nice.
Yeah, another one that's big on pounds that you can roll out early, and she's stout featured. Man, that is a very, very stout kind of a skull with a square chest and good in her knee. She's advanced in her muscle and spread down her top. A really good turn of loin edge, a good square kind of a stifle, but still real manageable. Definitely staying between the lines on where we need to be on that. Nothing's out of whack there. Just a good stout built kind of a hog with the right kind of build and proportions. She does look like the type and kind that could be a good middle or a good heavyweight, either one, because she's got the length of body of a heavyweight, but the stoutness and probably the elevation of a middle. And I think you can do either one and do it pretty effectively. If you're needing, again, another good quality pig that's bigger to roll out earlier, or if you've already bought some pigs there and you bought them a couple months ago and realizing that they're probably going to grow better than you thought, you might want to grab one of these and get a good pig that's kind of the right size for those early shows. That one there is 21-7.
21-8 drops out, and that's another happy hour wide awake, and another one that's I think really intriguing off to the side. I mean, this one's wild looking up front. I think she's still got great shape and expression up high, and just a good, comfortable one out here in her skeleton. I think looks like the kind that certainly going to feed well into that July or on into August setting. I think once this gilt body's down, I think she's going to be very tough.
Yeah, kind of a middle plus size there for the group he's offering, and man, that's a neat pig. Got a really intriguing pedigree. I think that's a neat blend top to bottom there. The happy hour wide awake thing, and haven't seen that put together yet. It looks like it's going to be a really neat deal. That's a really long fronted, sleek, cocky, exotic looking one up front, and then short and boxy in her length of body. Her elevation off the ground combined with that boxiness of build, again, proportions her perfectly for the show ring. You're not going to have to worry about that one. Her look up front, that one's kind of that jaw line and that head carriage is really going to carry you a long ways when you hit the ring there. That's going to be very impressive. Tall-shouldered, level design, a shapely top, crisp kind of a loin edge and groove running down her top with good kind of stifle shape with really good kind of running gear as far as flex and angle and set the way she goes. And again, just get her, truthfully, just fatten her up. She just needs to be just a little fluffier. And that's all okay. You can do all that stuff with the bucket, change your protein and fat level within that, and get it done. Because the proportions and the stuff, you cannot put a fixer in a bucket. She's got all the basics put together in the right kind of proportions and the right kind of eye appeal. That one there is 21-8.
$23.5 on the stick. Be a logic. Buckle up. Believe in me. Grandma here last, I think like 2 weeks ago, would have just raised the grand overall market hog at Florida State Fair for the Herman family. I think this gilt, another one really big on pounds, but very, very comfortable about her skeleton. She's bold in her back shape. She's big in her pin set. She's broad. She's really deep-sided and robust. I think another one, I think if you're hunting something for a June or July show, I think she certainly fits the bill.
Yeah, she's one of the biggest ones on pounds we've looked at, and it's really neat to see those hogs that have kind of went into halfway through their growth time and not be tuned on and just be fed in sets and still be good. And this one here still is holding together. She's stout, three-dimensional, really good stout skull, looks like a generator. She's got a big, bold kind of a turn to a barrel-shaped kind of a rib. She's pliable in her center body with really good kind of body shape in the right length. And again, watch her flex and go. Big set of bones, a strong set of feet, good pasterns, angle sets and reaches the way she needs to. She's got an abundance of muscle down her top, a lot of spread up high. She's really bold and square in her muscle pattern behind. Surely, you can take her right on into a market gilt type deal if you got a county for that or jackpot deal. And then she's still got the stuff as far as heaviness of structure and boldness of feature in a sound package to be a really good kind of a breeding gilt. She's never going to be that cute, slick one. She's going to be the bold, stout one that's going to overpower you when she hits the ring. That one there is 23.5.
$24-1 drops out there, or 24-2, correction. Would be a logic next contestant there. Mother would have came from the Horsleys down in Virginia Beach, and another one. I think we were just debating. I think this probably is the heaviest pig on pounds in the sale. This big belted pig here, but I think one still has quality to him. One, if you're looking for a June show there, or we joked, or you even needed to hit the end of May, I think he probably could because he's plenty big enough. But I think he reads to have the indicators right as far as just to be a good feeding pig there. I think he's got some muscle shape. I think he's got some dimension, and still very, very comfortable in his skeleton for his size.
Yeah, good bigger pig, and again, he's not going to wow you with like tons of outlying stuff. And you need to take into consideration again, these hogs are just kind of fed in a almost a commercial type of setting in groups, and they're not being tuned on like they're ready to go to a jackpot show every week. So again, get him in his own pen, put him on your own program, feed what additives you want to sharpen everything up and make it look neater and cooler. Get him suntanned a little bit, and you're going to probably be amazed what you could build that one into in a very short order. Good kind of skull, length of front. He's a sound, easy-going kind of hog as far as flexibility of structure off of both ends. He still proportions right. His length of front and elevation with the middle of the road length of body. reach and go behind. Obviously a little plainer in his edges as far as his loin edge and pop and stifle. But again, you can do all that with the bucket because all those basics are put into him in a correct fashion. It should be a simple, easy feed. If you're not comfortable doing it, talk to Garrett or one of the good feeders who are within this industry and let them kind of tell you how they would build that one or not. And I think you could be probably pleasantly surprised with what a good basic hog can be with some extra care. That one there is 24-2.
24.8 on the stick now, and we sold some of these earlier. They would be a Logic next contestant, and this sow would have originated from our buddies at Virginia Beach. They're the Horsleys, and done a really good job. It's been a real good generator. I think her last litter, we had a Gilt Bradley Cron, would have showed out of next to none. That was a light cross. They got along real well on that ECLA deal. I think this light cross deal, I think this one could be real fun if you're still looking or hunting a gilt for Expo or Summer Spectacular, or just wanting to run something in the light crosses this summer, because I think the guesswork again is out of this one. I think she's a stout mugged one that's still elevated. Has a big forearm working in her, bowled up high on the top side. You get her going away, and I think she's square, and she's got a really big pin set. Really nice gilt there.
Yeah, again, very sizable on pounds, and again, if you need a quality pig to go earlier, don't hesitate. It's all there, and again, they get no guesswork. Stoutness of build, boldness of skull, width and squareness of chest, and still stays intact in her elbow and doesn't roll her front feet. Very good from that aspect. Her angles and set and reach off of both ends are spot on as far as the way she needs to handle herself. And then she's got an abundance of muscle. There's a lot of spread up high, bold hipped kind of a hog with a good turn of a muscle shape going directly away, and still squares up really good in her joints. Again, just a solid one that, again, dual purpose market gilt, breeding gilt scenario. Nice blue speckled up gilt there, 24-8.
26-1 belted gilt here, being unrivaled. Believe in me, Mom would have done a really good job. Had a fun summer for I think it was the Reagan Dean family that would have showed this gilt there a couple summers ago that we would have sold at Sweethearts. The grandma would be a mate to the champion dark at San Antonio, and I think a lot of good stuff in this one. A stout featured one, again, bigger on pounds, stout headed, plenty of muscle, but still real comfortable. I think as you continue to feed this one, I think she's going to be a fun one if you're still looking for something in that late June and on into plenty into July setting.
Yeah, if you like them, neater fronted and good looking up front with some dimension, that's kind of her. She's got really a very feminine kind of a front end, but still some stoutness to her jaw. She's very square in her build and correct in her proportions. She's got a sharp, crisp kind of a look as far as, again, her edges. Her loin edge is crisp and square. She's got a square kind of a muscle pattern behind, and then you watch her profile, good length of front with stoutness, but the elevation is very good with a boxier, shorter length of body to tie it together with really good kind of balance. Very shapely kind of gilt that still stays within herself. It's going to be an easy feed to kind of finish her on out. And again, she's sizable, so again, all the guesswork's gone, and just kind of go ahead and kind of finish her out. And you can roll a high quality, bigger one out there to an early show and have a nice pig to do it with. That one there is 26-1.
27-2 drops out, and this is a culture shock on the Breathtaker sow we call a runner. That Delaney runner would have shown a couple summers ago there, would have got a piece of her division at Expo, ends up being 5th out at Iowa. I think she wins the All-Iowa showdown there that summer. I think this prospect's still really neat. We sold a few of those at some live sales, decided to hang on to a pair of them to keep the quality extremely high here for the Excellence Creates Opportunity sale, and I think that hog's the epitome of that. I think this one's stout-skulled, he's hairy, he's got a really neat look to him, his forearm's big, and he looks like the right kind and the right size to play ball at a Midwest State Fair.
Yeah, again, a really neat pig. You know, he's got some size to him. Obviously, not as big as some of them we've got in the group, but kind of middle size for what Garrett's offering here. And man, a good proportioned pig. Awesome looking out of his front end. Extremely long up through his front end, and has a length of head and neck, but stoutness a feature. Really good as far as, again, forearm size and bone work. Very good as far as angles and set and reaching. And watching my profile, man, the tall shouldered, almost runs uphill. Really short in boxing, his length of body between that long front end and long rump, and the way he hooks everything up behind. Just a solid, good, easy feeding kind of a pig that's got, I think, a tremendous amount of upside. You can build that one into a really stout, bold one that has those right proportions. I like that pig here quite a bit. Again, and it's really hard to get some of those higher level pigs on bigger ones right now, and that one there can kind of walk into that July and August right on through the state fair season throughout the Midwest in a big time way. That's 27-2.
27.5, and this is the other Culture Shock Breathtaker on the runner sow there. Again, she would have been shown by Delaney Runner, got a piece of her division there at Expo, wins the All-Iowa Showdown, and I think ends up being 5th overall in the market side at Iowa State Fair as a really, really big gilt. We sold a couple of these 27s, the ones that were kind of extremely bloomy early, and I wanted to keep a really good pair back for the Excellence Creates Opportunity sale to keep the quality extremely high here. And I think we got a really neat prospect out here. He's bigger on pounds than probably all the 27s were, but I think one that as a heavyweight and probably like a late July State Fair or first week of August, I think it'd be really neat because he's stout featured. He's got a stout skull. He's just super, super tall shouldered, big legged, square built. I think a really nice pick.
Yeah, good built one that has a really good kind of a look. Again, extended up front with a really neat kind of a jawline. Everything blends in that head carriage right back into his blade and levels out in his top and spine the way it needs to. His reach and flex and angle and set off of both ends is spot on where it needs to be, and the type of elevation and type of length the body has got, again, and again, the fact that he's still a greener kind of a hog that you can have the ability to push on. Again, you hit that one into a heavyweight type of scenario, and everything's going to come together. That's going to be a good looking one up front. That's got a heaviness of structure, squareness of build, proper kind of balance and design in a very problem free kind of a fashion. That's 27-5.
30-1 drops out. That's be another Logic. Roll with it. Mother would have raised the Reserve Grand at West Virginia State Fair last summer, and I think another a neat prospect there for a July setting. A stout featured one that's just very, very comfortable in a skeleton. He's got a stout skull, real wild look up front, and maybe not one to just want to cooperate out here for videos today, but I think one to definitely see in person and look up, because I think hog has a bunch of quality there, and just to be that genuine in your skeleton and then add on the muscle shape that he offers, I think will be a nice fig to feed for July.
Yeah, one again one that's just not messed up. A good angles, good set, hits the surface very square and comfortably. Extension up in front of his blade, and then the angle and set to his shoulder blade, knee and front foot is very good. He squares up good in his chest, and again stays very square and intact in his elbow. Good as far as his overall levelness of design, his reach and go off of both ends. Again, is right where it needs to be. He's the type and kind. If you again, he's sizable on pounds, and figure out where you want to be on that aspect of it. He looks like one that could accommodate just pouring the coal to him and bulking him up and letting him go ahead and get into that heavyweight type of range. I think he's got the type of frame size and extension to accommodate that. Again, shouldn't be a running gear problem with the kind of set and angles he's got, good kind of bone work, good kind of foot size. Again, solid individual, should be a good feed. That one is 30-1.
30-2 drops out, and that's another Logic. Roll with it. Mother would have raised the Reserve Grand there at West Virginia State Fair last summer for the Howard family, and another one I think is a very neat prospect. I mean, his skull reads just so stout. He's probably one of the most stoutest pigs in the sale, but yet you get him off to the side, and I think his angles still read right. He's got a really big forearm working in him, a ton of shape and spread and dimension up high, and for as stout as he is, I still think he keeps it within bounds there going away, but would certainly be one I would just drop the protein on and lighten the load up there, get him off a self-feeder.
Yeah, neat pig again, sizable on pounds that you can roll out earlier, and type and kind wise, he's dense and he's stout and he's bold in his feature. That is an awesome kind of a skull. That is a heavy set of bones. His angle and set and reach off of both ends is spot on where it needs to be. Again, a very bold kind of a rib cage, but he doesn't get out and get independent in his elbow where he starts rolling everything. He squares up with the right kind of squareness of stride and length of stride that he needs to up front, and he plants a good square kind of a foot coming at you. He's a moderate built kind of hog as far as elevation, length of body, and just kind of the density that he's got put together. He's going to be, I think, a better middleweight kind of a hog than he would be a heavyweight. And again, if you kind of pace him accordingly, and again just kind of middle pace or slow roll him to kind of back him off just a hair on his bulk, that was going to be a real intriguing kind of a piece there in that middleweight division where everything really fits together. He'll outstout a bunch coming in the gate with that kind of boldness of skull and heaviness of structure. That one there is 30-2.
30-3 drops out, and that's another logic. Roll with it, and mother there would be the 55.5. She would have raised the reserve grand at West Virginia State Fair last summer, doing a really good job. And the pair of 55 litter sows be out of a next intention sow that's a mate to the champion dark at San Antonio, and goes back to a lot of our really good stuff. Another one, like we've said before, definitely should have sold this group earlier probably, but we try to save some size variation for this Excellence Creates Opportunity sale, and I think this is a high-quality barrow there if you're hunting one that looking for that July setting, because he's got a big forearm working in him. He's got a stout head, a really big hip in him, and he's just very comfortable as he hits the surface there. I think it'll be a really easy feeding pig that can play ball there when he gets into the 270, 275 range.
Yeah, again, he's pounds heavy and can go earlier for sure, and truthfully, he's one that, I guess, again, should be a solid feed. Length of front and levelness of design, correctness of angle, and set off of both ends. He's laid back in his shoulder, knee, and front foot. He's got a flexible kind of hind leg that's able to reach and go. He's really good, again, as far as when you watch him profile, of having a good, neat kind of a front end, but still dimension of skull. He's got pliability of rib, again, pliability of body. And he's got the type of length of body and type of elevation to kind of be that heavyweight that you would figure would go right on into to that range of the 270 to 280 type of range, and where everything fits, and you're not going to have to push and figure out how in the world you're going to make him look like a heavyweight. He looks like a heavyweight. He's just that kind of a pig. And again, he's got some stoutness of dimension, got some boldness of hip, but still real flexible off his hind leg. Neat kind of a bigger pig there, 30-3.
30-4 on the stick now there. Be a logic. Roll with it. Mom would have raised the reserve grand at West Virginia State Fair last summer, and I think this bear is a neat prospect there. I think he's balanced in proportion, has some shape and dimension, still but yet green or maybe more immature than some of the other 30s that we saw. I think he's got a big forearm working in him, and one that I think looks to be competitive in that August setting.
Yeah, kind of a middle-sized one on pounds for the group. And, again, one that proportions really good. Again, long-fronted and boxy built. He's a barrel length of body, shorter through his center portion of his body and long up through his front end, and takes a good kind of a step behind. Again, he's just a solid individual that's probably a little more mellow in his muscle. He's got muscle, but it's a little more mellow fashioned, and that kind that has a running gear like that and the kind of bones and everything that fits and balances with the right kind of angles. Those you can push on with all the products you want to add to him, and then just sharpen those edges and bulk him up. I think he's going to be able to accommodate whatever style you want to throw at him as far as feed goes. That's 30-4.
30-5 drops out, and that's another logic. Roll with it. Mother would be 55.5 that raised the reserve grand at West Virginia State Fair for the Howard family last summer. And another neat prospect. I think bigger on pounds again, but another one that offers you a really neat look from the side. He's really opened up in his chest. He's got a big forearm working in him. Just stout about his feature yet, but it's just very, very comfortable out here. And his skeleton angles read right there. And I think another one, if you're looking for a July deal, I think this is certainly a good pig to put on feed.
Yeah, one you can definitely roll out earlier, and this one again has an extra extension and length up front. He's probably a half rib longer bodied. Looks like he'll be one that if you can top him out as a heavyweight, I think he'll fit that pretty well. He's opened up good in his chest. He's got a lot of turn to a big old barrel-shaped rib and a lot of roundness to his body and dimension of center, pliability, if you will. He's really got a broad, square kind of a top working in him. That again, I think you can, with the feed bucket, can kind of sharpen his edges and make him even neater looking up front. You put that kind of length of front and look coming at you with some crispness atop, you're going to go a long ways. Go a long ways toward grabbing a pin. He's a bold hog in his muscle, a wide stifled kind of a pig that I think is going to be real manageable. We probably just kind of keep an eye on him and pace him accordingly where he needs to be. A good, solid kind of an individual. Again, balances really well. That one there is 30-5.
30-6 going to be a logic. Roll with it. And again, another one that's big on pounds, but I think a very, very predictable pig there. Really opened up in her chest, a ton of back shape up high, a big square, big pinned one as she leaves you. And I think we alluded to some of those roll with it sows, or the 55-liter sows we talked about earlier. So this one's mom would actually raise the Reserve Grand at West Virginia State Fair last year for us. She's done a really nice job, off to a hot start, and I think again, we should have sold these certainly sooner, but I think if you're looking for some July stuff, I think there's a lot of good and quality here in the 30s.
Yeah, again, one of the bigger ones on pounds we've probably looked at. This one just looks like she's going to be a killer kind of a sow, and she has that kind of a front end that looks productive but still has a good extension and the right kind of jawline for the show ring. She's got a lot of a barrel shape to her rib cage. She's really pliable centered. That one is a very mellow centered hog with really good kind of turn of body shape and volume. Which makes me think she should be a good sow when you crank her back into the herd. She's really square in her chest and good in her elbow, bold skulled, and then she's got a lot of muscle volume. She's not quite as shapely and a hard, longer loin edge as some of the other ones, but she's real feedable to do that. Again, if you want to run her and sharpen her up for the show ring, you can sharpen those edges a bunch. She's got volume and muscle, and she's got a big, bold kind of a hip, but it's still got a ways to go where you can go ahead and bulk that thing up and even mass it up even more and sharpen the edges and get her really neat looking. Just a good kind of a bigger pig there. That is 30-6.
30-7 drops out. Another logic, roll with it. Next intention. Mother here would have raised the Reserve Grand at West Virginia State Fair last summer. And I think it's just done a really good job so far. I think we got a pair of those 55-liter sows and both generating, doing a really good job. This one's big on pounds again. Certainly should have been sold probably 2-3 weeks ago, but we kind of held a variation of sizes for this Excellence Creates Opportunity sale to give some buyer options there. And I think she certainly fits well in that late July setting. Another one that's just stout featured and bold in her back shape there, big in her pin set there. Still an elevated one up front there that's just very comfortable and correct. I think another one that's just robust in the center portion of her skeleton.
Yeah, three-dimensional, stout kind of a hog that's boxy in her build. She's got a good kind of a look, a feminine kind of a look, but looks like a productive kind of sow needs to and still could be a show hog. She's got, again, turn and pliability to her rib. She's got some squareness of loin edge and still blends down into good kind of natural body shape in the right length of body. She's a square-hipped kind of a hog that's starting to get good pop and tone to it. Again, squares up really good. Should be a real simple kind of a feed. And, again, she's sizable. Depending on where you got to go, you're not going to have to lay a lot of groundwork on feed on that one. She's got, again, that density and pliability and squareness of build. Again, just be a good solid feed for you. That one is 30-7.
30-8 on the pipe now. This is going to be a logic, a roll with it. Her mother would be the mom of the Reserve Grand at West Virginia State Fair last year. Grandma would be a litter maid to the champion dark at San Antonio. So it ties back in a lot of the stuff we've been getting along with here lately. And Obviously, another one that we probably should have sold there 2-3 weeks ago, but I think we've taken the predictability again out of these things, and I think you could see kind of at this size what you get's what you see. That's a stout featured one that's stout-headed. She's bold in her back shape. She's robust in the center portion of her skeleton, and she leaves you with a big square pin set. I think you got shows there late June, early July, end of July. I think she suits that very well.
Yeah, she's a big one on pounds, and again, obviously in a breeding gilt type of scenario, which is how she hits me. You can show them a long ways. I mean, you can show them things up to close to 400 pounds and be fine. So you're still going to have quite a few shows to be able to spread that one out over. She looks like a killer kind of a sow to me, just to put back in the sow herd. That one is really pliable. That one is a big, bold, square kind of a rib with a lot of youthful pliability to the center of it. She's a big-bodied, big-ribbed kind of a hog with extra dimension through her center. She's still feminine up through her front end with a neat kind of a jawline for a show gilt. She proportions good as far as the type of elevation and type of length of body she's got. She's really opened up with a great big turn into that rib, and she's got a big, robust kind of a top and a bold kind of a hip, and she's got muscle, but man, it's put in her in a mellow type of a fashion. And if you want to tune on it and crisp it up, that's entirely up to you. And man, if you just want to take that one back out in the salad after you're done showing her and doing what you can do in the breeding gilt ring, that's going to be a fun kind of a sow to work with, and a lot of really neat wild kind of boars to breed one like that too when you got them correct with that kind of body and center to them. That one there is 30-8.
31-1 drops out. Another one-way. Picture this, and again, Mom would be a littermate to the Grand Overall Breeding Gilt there at Pale, I think two times ago, and her other sister would have just raised the Grand Overall Barrow or Market Hog there at Delaware State Fair this past summer. I think a really neat gilt that's extremely tall-shouldered and elevated, ties out real high out of her head and neck, a really level spine one there that's just super comfortable and athletic, takes a really big step and just plants and pushes off of both ends of her skeleton, I think very, very nicely. I think this one suits very well in that July setting.
Yeah, bigger one on pounds and bigger one on frame size. She looks like she could be fed into a heavyweight and do it very effectively. Really extended up through her front end, a good angle and set off of both ends. Like the way she reaches and goes with a lot of comfort level. Tall-shouldered, level designed, level-hipped with stout indicators, skull shape, bone work, foot size, tail root. All that tells me that one still has the ability to go ahead and bulk and mass up as you go. And again, just kind of take her home and start bulking her up, and you can have her probably ready a whole lot quicker than you may think. She's a greener, more immature centered kind of a hog. It's got maybe a half rib longer body, but man, when you go ahead and feed and bulk that one up and get her as a heavyweight, and you can get there pretty quick, I think, if you choose to do that. That's going to be a really interesting type of prospect. That one there is 31-1.
31-2 on the stick now, and that's going to be another one-way picture this. So mother of these would be a mate to the mother of the 43s, so they'd be picture this sows that go back to that never before sow. Her littermate sister would have been the Grand Gilt at Pale there 2 years ago, I think. A really neat prospect. She does have a crinkled ear, which is just cosmetic, shouldn't bother anybody, but I think one that's going to be a good market hog there. You get her into a July setting. I think she's got some muscle shape and expressioning up high on the top side. She's got a stout skull in her.
Again, another one of the bigger ones on pounds. If you need a good quality hog, again, to go to one of those earlier shows there, even in early July without any problem, that's a good size hog on pounds. And then she's a nice pig. That one there's got a good stoutness of skull, a lot of turn of shoulder blade and natural rib shape. She's got the right kind of bone work as far as everything kind of matching what we're seeing up high. She's not too long-bodied for her own good. She's balances up as a result of that, and she's got just a shot more turn to loin edge and shot more pop of stifle than the other pig, the other mate that we've got in there right now. And again, she's one you can feed pretty creatively, but I don't think you have to do a lot of extras with her because she's got a lot of spread of muscle up high. Nice kind of a pig if you need one early to roll out. Very good kind of a gilt in 31-2.
31-3 there. be a one-way. Picture this, and Mom would be a maid sister to the Grand Gilt there at Pale a couple years ago, and her other sister this past summer just had the grand overall at Delaware State Fair. So good pedigrees, and I think this gilt's really, really tall-shouldered, really extended up front, and I think one that as a heavyweight, I think is going to be really neat. I think just give this one a little bit more time, get a little bit more center body onto her, get her fed by herself. I think things can turn quick for her, and she should certainly be fun in that late July or early August setting.
Yeah, she's one, again, middle plus probably on size for the group, and she's one, again, it has that good kind of a look and the good kind of a build with a sound structure, and she just need to add the extras with the fluff and the buckets, just go ahead and bulk her up in her rib and body. She's got the kind of build that you can do that. And, man, these feeds anymore is really amazing, the creativity you can build these pigs on. She's got all the basic stuff put together as far as that eye appeal and soundness and flexibility. She's true and square at the ground. She still proportions good from the side as far as being long-fronted and middle of the road on length of body in the middle, and then watch her running gear. She gets out there and goes just in a greener type of a pattern. Just bulk her up again with the bucket. That one there is 31-3.
$31.4 is going to be a one-way. Picture this, and her mother would have been, or her sister would have raised the grand overall barrow at Delaware State Fair last year. Their littermate sister also would have been the grand champion gilt there at Pale, I think 2 turns ago. So really, really good genetics there behind those. And another one, bigger on pounds, but I think a stout-featured one. Is robust in the center portion of her skeleton. She got a big forearm working in her stout head. Another one I think is really comfortable and would suit very well in that July setting.
Yeah, she's one that again, breeding gilt wise, you can run those things for a long time, and she's big enough that she'll fit that June type deal also. And I mean, she looks like she's got some grow in her. And again, these hogs are not tuned on. I mean, when you go ahead and get them individually in your own pens and send them the direction you want to individually, it's going to be interesting to see what you could do, because these hogs have soundness, they have look, they got muscle, and they got density to them just on a feeder setting and in a finisher type of scenario. So good looking up front, level design, tall shouldered, level made, very square, crisp kind of a loin edge with a good kind of square hip working in her with some real shape and crispness to her. She's got the right kind of bone work down low to handle it, good kind of length of stride, quality of underline. As far as a breeding animal goes, you could run that one and make her a good kind of a sow that you could probably build some really neat kind of pigs for another year. That one there is 31-4.
31.5 drops out, and this is a one-way. Picture this. So a mom of the 43s would be a littermate to the mother of these, and I think a really neat prospect. She's tall-shouldered and real elevated, and then length of hips extremely good, and I think this gilt, just structure and skeleton put together extremely nice. She's heavy-duty, heavy-boned, looks like the kind that's going to have a fun summer.
Yeah, one of the bigger ones on pounds we've looked at here today, and she obviously could go out early. And if you got a county there that can show some market gilts, she doesn't look like a market gilt today, but I guarantee you with the right type of bucket and additives there, that one's going to be one that can bulk into one that you can do that with, because her stoutness of skull, her natural build, her elevation up front in relation to the rest of her body is spot on, doesn't run downhill. She's good as far as her squareness of chest and her elevation up off the ground, but then she still does not get too long-bodied. She's still got some pliability of rib, some depth of flank in a more middle-of-the-road length of body. Big set of bones, stout skull, square built. Again, you can just kind of pour the coal to that one and kind of go ahead and build her on. Show you she can go out early. She can finish up earlier if you choose to go ahead and get her tuned up for the sow lot and get her ready to breed. Good kind of a prospect that's got, again, a lot of upside with the indicator she's got. That one is 31-5.
32-1 drops out, and that's another wide awake money's on, and another one I think goes back. Grandma would be the mom of the grand bearer this time there at Virginia State Fair, and amongst some others there. I think a one that's real sharp-jawed and gives you a really neat look from the side, but yet still has a ton of power and presence to him. He's got a big forearm. He's got a big top working in him, and then he just leaves you square, true, and comfortable. I think for the amount of muscle he has, he's extremely athletic in his build. And another one that's probably bigger on pounds, and I think would still suit well in that late July, early beginning of August setting.
Yeah, another one sizable that still holding together really good on structure. Extra good looking, sharp looking up front, but still dimension to skull. Length in front of his blade's excellent. I like the way he's laid back, shoulder to knee and front foot. A heavy structured pig with the right kind of angles and set and reach off of both ends. Flexibility and comfort level is really good. The type of build he's got with the extension and type of length of the body looks like a really good kind of a heavyweight when you top that one out. And he's really robust down his top. He's really good in his muscle pattern behind in a real feedable fashion. If you want to go ahead and push on him and get more to him, I think you can do it because his squareness of build is really good. He stays intact in his elbow coming at you. He stays square and clean in his hock with a good kind of ankle behind. Looks like it should be a very simple, easy feed, easy manage. Just pace him accordingly where you need to finish him. That's 32-1.
32-2 drops out. That's going to be a wide awake. Money's on. Grandma would be that good backdrop sow that would have just raised a grand bear there at Virginia State Fair last year. Really stout featured one, I think. Real big in his forearm, but still offers you a really neat look. He's busted open coming at you, and honestly, we would have loved to have sold these pigs probably 2-3 weeks ago, but just the timing didn't work out for us. But I think opportunity's there because the predictability on these things, once you get them to this size, I think it is a lot easier for people, and I think this is a very nice pig.
I think it's a neat thing, too, that you've got some of those bigger ones of the pedigree we have of some of the smaller ones because, people are they're trusting us to say, these are going to get this way or these are going to do this. They're green and all you got to do is this. And then you see a big one and it's done that. And I think it's important to see that those genetics actually are following through with the indicators that we look for, what they're doing. We talk about the wide awakes little, how they're greener and more immature through the center. And here's a wide awake right here that has grown and developed and left on the feeder, and he's still holding together with lots of stuff. That is a stout skull, a great big set of bones, a lot of turn of shoulder blade and rib cage, real muscle. That hog has got a lot of spread up high with a good ditch running down his top and a sharp, neat kind of a look along his loin edge. And he's bold, stifled, but still manages it really well. Heavy structured, stout, dense, bold featured, a lot of stuff in the right proportions. He's big. You're not going to have to spend a lot of money on feed. You just take that one home and pace him and manage him to an earlier show. Again, he's not a one you're going to take to a September, October show, and it's not going to work. But if you got something there in that June and July type deal, that's on target, and you don't have to do a whole lot to get that one just about ready. Nice kind of a pig. 32-2.
32-3 drops out. That's another wide awake. Money's on backdrop, and that backdrop sow would have this past fall just raised the grand overall at Virginia State Fair. I think a really neat prospect as far as one that's just stout about his feature. He's bold in his back shape. He's stout in his head. He's really opened up in his chest floor. And leaves you with a big square pin set. And then off to the side, I think one that's just has a really bendy hind leg there. Takes a really good step for this size. I think a lot of predictability out on this one.
Yeah, again, a pounds heavy one that you definitely can go out early with. Man, he's dense and stout and bold. That is a very, very broad, stout kind of a skull that really has a manly kind of a look coming at you. That's a huge set of bones. Diameter of legs are humongous. Great big forearm. Still clean jointed. And he doesn't get straight any place. Everything flexes and angles and sets the way it needs to. He's a shot more moderate on height and length of body, so he's more of even though he's got pounds, he's more of a middleweight kind of a hog, I think, to me, as far as where he tops out to be the right kind. And that's okay. There's plenty of middleweights that could compete right to the end of the line and win it all when they're the right ones. The density feature he's got, the boldness, the big round rib and body shape he's got, the robust kind of a top and a bold square kind of a hip, and still able to manage everything very comfortably. I think a really nice kind of a bigger pig there. That's 32-3.
32-4 drops out, and again, this would be a wide awake, money's on backdrop, and that backdrop sow there last year would have raised the grand overall Virginia State Fair. A really neat prospect. I mean, this one's stout featured, bold backed, big in her pin set, broad up high, stout in her skull. Obviously bigger on pounds. Another one, I think predictability is we're far past that on these, and I think they're still good pigs. They're hold together real right, and tail root sits way up high on her back. I think a strong one there that I think is going to be very nice there in the early setting.
Yeah, you really can't say there's any guesswork there. I mean, she's done a lot of it on her own, and she's there, and that's not been tuning on them in an individual pen. That's just in a setting, a group setting of just letting them be pigs, and that's pretty neat to have a good one that has a lot of extra stuff with no problems, and they haven't been pimped on at all. That is a good-looking one, ladylike up front, and then again that neat look, an elegant look up front, and then bulk and density behind that bold rib, bold shoulder blade, a lot of turn to a barrel-shaped kind of a rib, a huge top working in that one, a lot of spread up high. That is a bold, muscular kind of a hog through her hip with a lot of stifle shape and muscle volume. Hits me as a dual-purpose market gilt scenario right off the bat. She's one. You can show that one early and show her quite a little while through that jackpot season, and I think whether you want to run her as market or breeding, you're going to be in good shape either way, because she's got the running gear to be a breeding hog, she's got the muscle to be a market hog, and she doesn't get out of whack or out of bounds any place. And she's even got, we don't talk about on crossbreds, we do on a few, and this one has a killer kind of an underline, even if that makes any difference to you, and it probably needs to make more difference to all of us. But that's one that's going to be a real easy feed, real easy manage. You can kind of pace that one as you want to. That one will be a one that maybe under the radar just because she's bigger. And again, it's kind of a shame, but the guesswork's taken out of you, and take advantage of that. It's a good pig. That's 32-4.
32-5 drops out. It's going to be another wide awake, money's on. Again, go back to that good backdrop sow. That would have raised the grand at Virginia State Fair this past go-around, and I think a really neat prospect. She's tall-shouldered and elevated. She's got a big forearm working in her. She's opened up in her chest. She's long about her hip, and that tail root sits way up high on her back. She's got a ton of shape and dimension. She's a bold, robust one there, a neat prospect.
Yeah, she's another one, sizable on pounds if you need to roll out early. And, I don't always get it to where people want to buy little bitty ones, and you get a big one, they think that they can't buy them. But that's a good pig. That's a high-level kind of a prospect that I think looks like a generator as a sow prospect to put her back in the herd. She looks like one that you could do a lot of damage in the ring with and stick her in a sale and make money back on her. Again, in the pedigree to burn. I mean, just everything put together right. Ladylike up front. Elegant looking up there with bulk and density of rib and shoulder blade, a lot of turn to a big pliable kind of a rib cage, perfect length of body, just middle of the road to shorter boxier length of body, boldness of and density of rib body, shape at top, boldness of hip, and still able to motor and go. I think that's a high-end prospect there. Again, she may get overlooked because she is bigger, but don't, because that one there, if that one fits when you need to go, I'd put a stick on that one any day and be proud to show her. That one is 32-5.
35-1 is going to be a stride for stride out of the Next Intention sow. We call Roxy there. Chet Bowden would have showed and won the points with there on the ECLA, won her class at Expo that summer. Neat prospect. I think if you're looking for something, hunting something for July still, I think this is a really tall-shouldered, stout-mugged one that's angles and proportions read right. I think he's going to be a really nice heavyweight for somebody there in that July setting.
Yeah, again, a larger one on pounds, and you can roll out early, and, man, he's built really good, and again, stoutness a feature. Is very, very stout skulled, he's tall-fronted, got a big set of bones, a huge forearm, and a clean set of joints, a big limbs with a big kind of foot at the base with a good kind of strength of pastern. His type of elevation and the type of length of body he's got, he's maybe a half rib longer body, which still is going to balance him upright when he goes ahead and finishes as a heavyweight, because he's not going to be one that's going to quit on you as far as frame size. You're going to have to worry about how you get him there. I think he's going to cruise right into that with that type of elevation and stoutness and squareness of build. You can get real creative with the bucket on that one. Really a striking kind of a pig from the side that gives you a nice kind of a profile. He's as tall as his shoulders, he is his hip, levels out really good, squares up with the right kind of reach off both ends. That one there is 35-1.
35-2, and that's a stride for stride. Next intention, mom would be a sow we call Roxy there. The Bowdens would have successfully campaigned to the High Points gilt there, or a High Points pig on the ECLA a couple years ago when Chet was working for us. I really like this male pig as far as you still need something for an early show, because I think he's tall-shouldered. He's really neat looking. He's got a good build to him, and I think as a big heavyweight, I think this is going to be a really neat pig because he's square and correct. He's got shape and dimension. He's really stout about his skull. A neat pig.
Yeah, again, a sizable one. Again, if you could roll him out early, and you'd be in really good shape. And Garrett, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it'll late June right on down. I mean, Expo lighter to middle, and then that I guess it's not Louisville now, but some spectacular type of age, early July type of thing would be just perfect. And man, he's a good built one with a lot of feature. That is a very stout skull with really good kind of length of front. Again, is as tall as his shoulders, he has his hip almost runs uphill. A heavy structured, big footed hog that plants really true and square. That's a good chest, floor, elbow, and knee up front, and takes a bold, authoritative kind of stride up front. And he does the same thing behind and able to reach behind his tail head. I think he's got the right kind of muscle to know that it's there, and that the density and stoutness is going to be there. But man, it's a real feedable kind of muscle. You can do a lot of things with that one and come out looking pretty smart in the end. You got that much feature and that much correctness. You could kind of sky's the limit on what you can get accomplished with that one. Again, roll that one out early if you need to in a very high quality type of pig. 35-2.
35-5 belted gilt there on the stick now. Going to be a stride for stride on next intention sow we call Roxy. Would have been the High Points gilt there a couple years ago for Chet Bowden when he was working here. And I think a really neat prospect if you're looking still at some of them bigger hogs, because I think this thing's just real tall-shouldered and elevated. She's stout, heavy structured one. I think that just continues to feed and grow and do the right things there. I think come July, I think this will be a very competitive pig.
Get another bigger pig with eye appeal. Again, that one's got a really good kind of skull and a cocky kind of a jawline working in her. Very neat coming out of the gate. Really broad in her forehead. Looks like a generator if you want to run her as a sow. Her elevation off the ground would combine with that shorter boxier length of body and then in a square build. Again, is spot on as far as proportions and balance goes. She squares up good from end to end, but not as much bulk and mass as some of the bigger ones we've had. But she's got the stuff and the indicators to be able to bulk up if you choose to do so at whatever rate you want to do it. I think she can accommodate what you want to throw at her. Just kind of bulk her up through her body, mass her up a little bit there in the lower hip, and I think you're going to be very pleased with that one also. 35-3.
35-4 drops out, and I think from a pedigree standpoint, this is a stride for stride, next intention. So mom would be a litter mate to next to none that's actually still here and had an incredible run there for the past few years, and one we just keep around and still use from time to time. But mother would have also been the High Points gilt there on the ECLA for the Bowden crew. Then we got her back after that. But she's done a really good job generating. This is a stout-featured one that's stout in her skull shape, pile of muscle, but then just still comfortable out here. I think gives you a really neat look from the side. I think if you're looking to jackpot one early, I think this one could certainly be, and then fit back into sow herd and be a key player for somebody here.
Yeah, a lot of options with this one. Again, size-wise, probably one of the bigger pigs we'll probably view here today. So if you need to roll out earlier, you surely can. And you're not just going to occupy a pen. You're going to have one that you can play and probably work your way toward a backdrop with this one. I mean, that's a very good female. Again, sizable in pounds. Really looks like a generator out of her skull. Again, broad forehead, big rim to her snout, awesome kind of jawline. She's tall-fronted. She's heavy-structured. She's got a big set of paws, really good set of pasterns, and she's perfect on her length of body. She's shorter and boxier in her length of body to tie together that kind of length of front and elevation off the ground she's got. She's really good and square in her build, a bold down her top, but not too much. Really good as far as her angle set, reach off of both ends. She squares up with really good kind of a squareness of hip and I think a really feedable kind of a muscle pattern. And again, you can just roll on with her. Man, when you got that much stoutness of feature and correctness of build, you can do a lot of things very creatively with that one. Again, really good short lister there, I think, 35-4.
35.5 drops out. That's another stride for stride. Next intention, again, be a sow we call Roxy there, would have won the points on the ECLA for Chet Bowden, and then she won her class that summer at Expo. And I think a really cocky, attractive gilt there that I think suits very well in that late July or on into August, middle of August setting. Stout featured one that's square built and big backed and leaves you with a big broad pin set. I think a really neat prospect.
Yeah, again, smaller that you can kind of run that middle of summer type of scenario on size-wise, and man, she's good featured. That one is a really unique and exotic out of her head and jawline. Very sleek looking, but still has some dimension to it. She's not a sissy-headed one, just a good-looking one. And you get behind that, and you get that squareness of chest floor, and you get that turn of rib and shoulder blade. Very good in her proportions when you watch her profile. Long-fronted, boxy length of body, level design with really advanced kind of muscle shape. She's really got some pop and tone and some power going directly away. She looks like a dual-purpose market gilt scenario that you could run her real quick in that particular aspect. Terrific, just needs to get fatter. She just which you can do that with your feed bucket. Just get a little more body composition there, a little more fluff on her, because she's got all the look and the proportion and the shape you'd ever want. Again, just mass her over a period of time. That one is 35.5.
35.6 drops out. Another stride for stride. Next intention, sow we call Roxy. Chet Bowden would have showed this gilt there. Won the points on the ECLA that summer, and then also won her class there at the exposition. I think a really neat prospect if you're still hunting some late July, early August pigs, because I think she's square built, bold backed, stout headed. Really opened up as she comes and goes, and then just from the side, I think still offers a neat look and just very balanced her proportion. I like the set and angle to her hind leg, and I think another the 35 is just very, very consistent litter, and I think another one that amplifies that.
Yeah, again, in some variety of size to evaluate there and to use to your advantage. This is kind of middle for the that particular litter as far as size. I got her down kind of about mid-size for the entire sale offering. Front 2/3 is really stout in this one. I like that skull shape and length of front. A very good hog coming directly at us as far as squareness and boldness. You watch her from the side. Again, just a solid individual that balances really well. She takes the right kind of length of stride. She's got the right kind of angles to be able to accommodate it. Again, just kind of a goof-proof, good individual that has all the basics covered, and you got to do that. You don't want to start with a glaring hole. You want to get one that's got balance and correctness, and she does that in the right kind of proportions. 35-6.
(35-7) drops out. That's another stride for stride. Next intention will be out of the sow we call Roxy that Chet Bowden would have showed a couple years ago. Won the points on the ECLA that summer, won her class at Expo, and has done a really nice job generating. This gilt's nice. Just favoring a foot at the moment, and wasn't after we pictured. We just ran these pigs on a trailer and ran them back off a second ago. So we'll stand behind this gilt 100% because I know she was right earlier, and we'll make sure she is by sale time or we'll pull her. But, yeah, I think this is a neat gilt there if you're still hunting some July stuff because there's a ton of quality. She's stout about her skull. She's bold in her back shape. She's big in her pin set, and I think looks like the kind that's going to feed well into that July.
Yeah, again, just a good pig. And I call those goof-proof, balanced, good eye appeal kind of hogs that are structured good. Even though she's gimping on her rear leg, that doesn't belong to her. She doesn't have any swelling in her joints or nothing's cracked. She's just gimping a hair, probably from the trailer load or maybe a little myco deal, whatever. Shatalinka will pop her right back and she'd be 100% again. Good looking up through her front end. Proportion really good. Very square coming at you with a neat, sharp kind of a look. Heavy structured, good footed. All 8 toes head north and south of where they're supposed to. And then you profile the length of front she's got with the boxy length of body is really appealing to the eye from the side. Again, she's jet black and again, just a good pig that's all black. She's a very problem-free, very muscular kind of a gilt that's really square in her build, not too far out anywhere. Just a balanced, good one that you can just feed on and do some good with and grab a pin. That one there is 35-7.
Hey, we're going to get started here. for the Excellence Creates Opportunity sale. This is 36-2 on the stick there now. He'd be an unrivaled 38-12, which is a next intention sow. She'd have been a mate to the champion dark there in San Antonio in 22. I think a pretty neat prospect, a very balanced but proportional pig that I think just continues to get better with time on feed because the structure's there and a setting angle to his hind leg I think is really nice and proportionally a very, very good pig.
Yeah, it just looks like an awesome feeder, just a feeder's dream kind of a deal where he's correct, he's got proportions, square build, and one you can really push on because he is correct. He's one, we'll try to give you a little bit of reference on size. I realize it's really difficult to tell on screen kind of how big these things really are, but he sure looks like a Midwest State Fair kind of size pig that the feeding style-wise you can push right along, get him to that particular point. He's just one that, again, stout featured, good skull shape, heavy structured kind of pig with the right kind of set and angles, the proportions good from the side with the right length of body to tie all together with the right kind of balance, and then he's greener muscled. He's a square topped hog and he's got some hip to him, but it's not a real defined kind of muscle. You can do that creativity with the bucket there any day because with the kind of feature he's got, it'd be an easy, solid feed that should top you out where you need to there at the end point. 36-2 is that male pig.
36-4 drops out. Be an unrivaled next intention. Mom be a mate to the champion dark at San Antonio a couple years ago, and then she would have raised the High Points pig on the Mid-Atlantic circuit there, I think two turns ago. A really neat pig there, a really big forearm one that's stout in his skull. He's opened up in his chest, and then off to the side, I think his hip's long. He's just really comfortable. Got a really, really big set of bones working in him, and I think one that's definitely finds my short list if you're looking for that late July or early August setting, because I think he's certainly a neat pig. Reminds me a ton of Unrivaled.
Yeah, another good pig. If you don't like black pigs, you can't complain about this one because he's got a little speck of white right at the top of his shoulder blade, so he's not jet black. But that's a good pig. I don't care what color he is. That's a tall-shouldered, long-fronted hog with stoutness of skull. I like his profile a bunch. That one's elevation off the ground combined with that middle-of-the-road length of body. He's heavy structured, everything. All 8 toes head the right direction. Nothing deviates or has a problem. And he looks like he's a real feedable type of prospect that, again, you can go ahead and bulk him up and mass him up and fluff him up. He's got the right kind of build to always kind of have that particular kind of proportion and look. And then you just add the extras with the bucket and then bulk him up and power him up over a period of time. I think he's going to be able to accommodate whatever you want to throw at him. That one there is 36-4.
36-7 drops out. That's going to be an unrivaled next intention. Mom would be a mate to the champion dark at San Antonio a couple years ago, and she'd be the mother of the High Points pig there on the Mid-Atlantic circuit a couple, I think 2 turns ago. Neat prospect there. She's stout, bold on the top side of her skeleton, really big forearm working in her stout head, big and broad in her pin set there. Looks like an unrivaled to me.
Yeah, she's one. She's got some size, but for the group, probably a middle size for the group. Figure out where you need to be there. Man, it looks like a dual-purpose one to me. I mean, really bold and robust down her top with a big stifle working in her, and still able to manage it. She's got an abundance of muscle, and it's not too much, and doesn't impede anything. But she's advanced in her shape. So again, you could roll her out in a market gilt type of deal the first weekend, and if you got a county that you can show market gilts, I'd bank on that one if that one size fits you. Bold, stout, shot more moderate in her build, really opened up good from end to end, extremely good squareness of hip, and still able to manage it really good as far as her flexibility of hind leg. Again, she just covers all the basics and again, has no deficiency. Squares up good from end to end, has some bulk and shapeliness and muscle. Freedom and ease of movement is good, and her proportions are good from the side as far as type of length of body to keep that thing all together in good balance. That one there is 36-7.
36-8, belted gilt here. Another one, I think, from a pedigree standpoint, she's an unrivaled. Be out of 38-12, a next intention sow to be a mate to the champion dark there at San Antonio. I didn't mention before that mother actually raised the High Points pig there on the Mid-Atlantic circuit there, I think 2 turns ago, and has just done a really nice job. Very consistent generator. This gilt drops out, and I think she's a bold back stout featured one that's stout in her skull work, big in her bone work, and I think as you continue to get this gilt going, I think she'll get rounder bodied, because I think everything else is there right now. She's opened up in her chest, and a very, very comfortable one out here.
Yeah, hits me coming out of the gate as a generator. That kind of skull shape and dimension she's got to her forehead, and the kind of type of jawline she got. She just looks like a one that could crank in the sour herd and give you a better one next generation. Man, she gets her head above her spine, and that head carriage blends in the way it needs to at the top of her blade. A tall-shouldered, level design kind of pig. It's got a really good kind of a running gear. Absolutely square in her chest and really good in her elbow and knee and front foot. Plants a big paw but good pasterns. And then you watch her profile again. High-headed, level designed, extremely good kind of reach, and she's dense and stout in her features as far as bone and hair and stoutness of skull, tail root, all that stuff. And she's got plenty of muscle to kind of get rolling on that you could kind of think about going ahead and running her as a market gilt if you want to jackpot her that way. But definitely has a running gear to be a good kind of a breeding kind of a gilt, and return on investment on some of these things with what Hambies have put together here in their sow herd and what they've gotten accomplished at some of these bigger sales down south. I mean that return on investment could be very good, or a foundation quality female to put back in the sow herd. That's 36-8 gilt.
$37.1, be a wide awake, all rise, next intention, and one I think a really tall-shouldered pig there. Does have a crinkle ear on one side, takes a little bit away cosmetically, but I think the fundamentals are there. I think this pig will feed and be a good one. The wide awakes last summer for us just continue to get better and better every day. I think time on feed with this pig will help him a lot.
Yeah, very typical of the wide awake maturity of being a little greener and more immature through the center portion of their body with good extension and a heavy set of bones, and that's kind of what that pig is. Again, skull shape, length of front's good, heavy structured, big-footed kind of a pig with strong pasterns, shapely hog down his top, and he's got some stifle working in him, and he still stays very square in his hock and rear ankle to be able to hold that thing together right. Again, just kind of bulk him and get him to heavyweight time. He's big on pounds, so just plan on running out early. Don't try to get him for a September county fair. You're not going to get the right deal done. This one is an earlier hog, and truthfully, he's got more push in him than he does pull as far as feeding ability. Not as much hold in him as that part goes with the kind of length of everything that he has. But you go ahead and get that one just fattened up through the center portion of his body. His bone work and his true shape is going to take him a long ways. That one's 37-1.
$39.1, be a wide open Smoking Joe back on the Dirty Love and Dottie sow, but would have won the points there a couple years ago on the ECLA. Certainly one of the stoutest featured pigs I think we've seen yet. Extremely stout in his skull work, extremely bold up high, a lot of muscle there, but still you get him off to the side. I think his angles read right. I think this one may be one as you get through and in the feeding period to have to slow down just a touch, just with the amount of muscle that he offers, but I think one that still structurally angles are correct there on that one. That's 39-1.
Yeah, again, another one that just good quality livestock. It represents a different feeding style, and some people like to roll them a little slower, and that's where this one's going to optimize everything he's got to work with the best. He's got a lot of stoutness and density to him. That is a very stout skull, big set of bones. Again, he's real boxy in his build, but yet real dense in his build as far as the bulk he has in his rib and center body. He's got true shape and true volume and muscle down his top. Big stifled kind of hog, still very much within bounds as far as where he needs to set. But again, just get him home, get him off the feeder, and kind of back off protein to Harris where that one's going to feed the very best. And again, he proportions good. Should be a simple feed. You just give him the right goodies, and I think you're going to be in good shape. That was 39-1.
$39-2 on the stick there now. I'll be a wide open Smoking Joe. Grandma will be that Dirty Lovin' sow that won the points there on the inaugural ECLA circuit there. I think a really neat gilt there. Stout-headed one that's got a big forearm working in her. Just super, super comfortable out here. I think one that's going to have a fun summer.
Yeah, green, immature, feminine-looking kind of a gilt that's built right. Again, skull shape and broadness of forehead impresses you. She's square in her chest and good in her elbow coming at you. She's from the profile aspect, you like her extension up front, and I like the angle and set she has, again, off of both ends. Reach and go and flexibility is really good. She's a shot greener in her body cavity right now, and truthfully just needs to just bulk up over time. And with the indicator she's got from that skull shape right back to her tail root, it's there. I mean, you don't have to worry about whether you're going to be able to get that accomplished. And I think you can do it in a very effective kind of a way and just get her fattened up and bulked up, because that kind of running gear, you can do lots of things, and once again, very creatively. 39-2 is that red belted gilt.
39-3 be the spotted up calico there. She'd be a wide open Smokin' Joe, and then goes back to the grandma there. Be that dirty loving Sissy Sal that would have won the points there on the inaugural ECLA circuit. I think she is a really neat prospect there. She's really got a really big forearm working in her. She's very comfortable in her skeleton there. She's got a stout skull, good muscle shape. One I think continues to feed.
She's real dense and real stout featured. That is one of the stoutest skull pigs we probably looked at out here today. You know, she's not going to be that neat little cute one up front. She's going to overpower you with the stoutness she has coming out of the gate. That is a broad forehead and a great big stout, generating looking kind of a skull. She's got a big set of bones and a strong set of feet with good kind of toe spread. Her design from the side is really good, again, as far as having that stoutness of skull, but still having the good set in her shoulder, knee, and front foot. She's real pliable in her center. You know, that hog's going to be a great big rib, great big bodied kind of hog with probably a half rib more length of body. She's really bold in her hip and hooks up long in her rump and squares up with good muscularity. Kind of the right kind of sow muscle to be that more mellow kind of muscle. And if you want to sharpen her edges and bulk her up for the show ring, you surely can do that. But, man, she's got the running gear and the extra stuff to be a good killer kind of a sow to put back in the sow herd. That kind there, if you want to breed on that one, you can breed that one to lots of multitude of different kind of boars that are around the country. That one there is 39-3.
39-6, another wide open Smokin' Joe, dirty lovin', goes back to the great grandma, be the Sissy Sal there. Mom would have, or grandma would have been the first gilt to win the champion ECLA points deal. I think this gilt's real neat. I think you're looking to feed one for August. I think she's super comfortable. She's stout about her skull. She gives you a really neat look up front. She's opened up in her chest. It's got muscle. I just think as you continue to feed on this one with the right time and feed bucket, I think she could be real good.
Yep, another one looks like a good feeder. Again, she impresses you coming out of the gate, being able to crank her head above her spine really comfortably. She's got a flexible, level design to her. She's elevated up front with a heavy set of bones and clean set of joints. Again, very good particularly from the side aspect there. That kind of skull shape and extension up front, combined with that kind of build as far as levelness and reach and flexibility. Again, is just a good feeding kind of a pig that, again, you can do a lot of creative things with as you need to. She's going to have shape. She's not as advanced as some, and that's okay. You know, she's a little greener center. Just kind of go ahead and add that with the bucket. The things you can't feed into, she's got, and that's the build, the structure. She's got the ability to flex and go. All that's laid into there already. That's 39-6.
40-2 on the stick there now. Another then and now wide awake. Mom would be, or grandma would be a mate to the champion dark at San Antonio, and she'd be the mother of the 55s there that would have raised the grand at Maryland State Fair last summer, and another littermate sow raised the reserve at West Virginia. So really good pedigrees there, and I think this pig's neat. I think he's super athletic. He's really tall-shouldered and elevated, offers you a really wild look from the side, and counter to his contemporaries, one that gives us some color there with a belt.
Yeah, again, just a good built one. He's really tall-shouldered, really extended up front. Love the way his running gear just allows him to just do everything really comfortable and effortlessly. That kind of build and that kind of squareness with those kind of indicators looks like one, again, you can really get it creative with the bucket. Pour the protein and additives to one like that over his lifetime and his show career, and you can bulk that one up and really make him look special. Again, that kind of elevation and extension that he's got makes you think that one is one that, again, wherever he tops out and finishes up, I think he's going to cruise into a heavyweight type of scenario and do it fairly easily. It's not going to be anything you're going to have to figure out whether can I make him look big enough in a heavyweight class. I think you're going to be in good shape there, but yet he's not going to be out of whack as far as being too long-bodied or deficient anywhere. He just squares up good with the right kind of indicators, and again, lots of upside for feedability. Really intriguing kind of a pig there, 40-2.
40-3 on the stick there now. Another then and now wide awake next. Grandma again be a next intention salad, be a mate to the champion dark at San Antonio a couple years ago. She'd also be the mother of the 55s, which both of the 55-liter sows would have raised the Reserve Grand in West Virginia last year and the Grand at Maryland. So some good stuff tied back in that pedigree there. And I think these hogs are just true and genuine in muscle shape there, stoutness of skull, and just very, very comfortable in their skeleton. This particular one, I think, looks like probably maybe the greenest of the 40s, but looks like one I think will continue to feed and do so, just being very comfortable.
Yeah, he's one of the slicker looking ones. Really neat looking out of his front end with a exotic kind of a jawline working in him. That you're not going to have to unload products to try to keep that one good looking up front. I think that's kind of ingrained in him. And then you watch him as you go ahead and bulk him, and you can pour the colder one like that. The greener, skinnier, more immature that you can again get pretty creative with. He's going to proportion fine to be able to hold all that together with the right kind of balance and with the feed bucket. His length of front combined with the right kind of elevation and a shorter, boxier, barrel length of body. Again, a square-built kind of a hog that, again, you just go ahead and kind of build him from the ground up and just kind of keep pushing on him. I think he'll accommodate it really well. Should be a solid feed, just a good all-black pig there that, again, should get you some extras there toward the end as you kind of bulk him up with the bucket. That one there is 40-3.
40-4 there on the stick now. Be a then and now wide awake next intention. So Grandma will be a mate to the champion dark there at San Antonio. She's the mother of the 55s that would have raised like the Reserve Grand at West Virginia State Fair and the Grand at Maryland last year. So some good stuff tied back in this one's pedigree on these 40s. I think some tall-shouldered, elevated ones that offer you just a good look from the side. They got muscle shape, heavy-boned set of pigs. I think you'll see. And I'm sure Jim will allude, color maybe isn't the key on this litter, but I think offer some neat stuff there.
Yeah, good pigs are good pigs, and that's a very nice all-black pig. That one's real dense featured of the pair we've got in here, and we'll talk about that in a second. This would be the stouter, bulkier, bold one that out of this particular pair. A really stout skull, very heavy structured, extra aesthetics of hair, and then he proportions good. Stoutness of front end. The right type of elevation with a boxy length of body. His reach and flex and squareness, I think, is very good. Should be an easy feed, easy manage kind of a deal. Just a solid individual that's problem-free with some extras. That one there is 40-4.
40-5, be a then and now wide awake. Mom or Grandma will be a mate to the champion dark at San Antonio a couple years ago, and then she's the mother of the 55s that had a really good summer last year, raised the reserve at West Virginia State Fair, the Grand at Maryland State Fair. So good pedigreed stuff there. I think this is another one that drops out, a stout-headed one that's really elevated and really comfortable. I think one that's going to continue to feed and just continue to bulk and mass as they go. They started out a little greener, and I could see the rest of them have kind of already started to roll on, but I think one that paints a really neat picture from the side.
Yeah, that's a stout noggin on one there. I mean, very bold featured, broad forehead, but still has length and extension to it. That stout aspect blends right back into a square kind of a chest, and he's greener and more immature in his build, and looks like one that, again, you can kind of get creative with the bucket, do what you need to. I mean, he's propped up on his toes good and still has some set to his shoulder. He's got front two-thirds. You really like that one quite a little bit. Behind, he's squared down his top, and he's immature in his muscles, starting to be a little more stifled than the other pig we got run out there right now. But again, is one that I think, again, just get that one fattened up and basically bulk him up, because he's good looking and has the right kind of proportions as far as elevation, and combining that with a boxier length of body should be a good solid feed. That's 40-5.
40-6 drops out. Another Then and Now Wide Awake. Next would be Grandma will be a mate to the champion Dark at San Antonio a couple years ago there, and be the mom of the 55s that would have last summer raised the reserve at West Virginia State Fair, the Grand at Maryland State Fair, and I've been waiting for this pig to drop out. He's one of my personal favorites there. I think he's got a huge forearm working in him. He's stout about his skull. Super heavy bone one there that still balance and proportions extremely good. I think this one in that August State Fair setting could be extremely fun.
Yeah, it's a good pig. Again, another all-black one, and I tell you, we're going to run it down your throat. If you don't like black ones, you're going to like them by the end of the day today because we got some good ones to sell. In this one, I mean, he's got to run to very close to the top of the list. I don't know what's coming yet, but that's a really good pig. That's as dense and stout a featured one as we have looked at of any size here today. I mean, that is a bold, stout skull, got a huge forearm working in him, a big barrel-shaped, pliable kind of rib and body. I'm so impressed with the stoutness of feature and the size of his bone work and all the stuff he's got, and then look at his running gear. And that has not been an easy thing to do over the years, is to put that big a set of limbs and that much density and make them flex and go the right direction. You know, there's no straight shoulder deal out of him. There's no straight hock or bowed hock out of him. That one's got a running gear that just keeps rolling. Good set and angle out of his shoulder, knee, and front foot. Extra aesthetics of hair to play with in the ring there. He's got a big, stout kind of a hip and a real manageable kind of a feeding type of pattern. He's more moderate and boxy in his build. You know, he's not going to be that extra slick, elevated when he's going to be overpowering with the amount of stoutness he's got. And man, he's from the ground up and the front back. I mean, that one there is stout throughout. That one is 40-6.
40-7, the solid black gilt there. Be a Then and Now. Wide Awake, Next Intention. So Grandma there be a mate to the champion Dark at San Antonio in 22. This Wide Awake sow, this would be her gilt litter. Just an extremely deep litter, I think. I thought we got a ton of just neat look and then just continue to have a ton of bone with these things. I think this gilt's elevated. She's super comfortable out here. Really balanced and proportional one.
Yeah, again, all black pig, smaller on pounds, one that has a very good kind of look and the right kind of proportions. A green, immature kind of a pig with an awesome look up front. The elevation and boxy length of the body is going to let her feed, I think, very effectively and very comfortably. Again, if you haven't fed one, you need to start out and figure out how to do it. You could take one like this and rest assured that you're going to enjoy what you're doing, because the soundness that one's got, proportions that one's got, bone, shape, everything is kind of there, just to expound upon it. Just basically kind of build it, mass it up over a period of time. Again, hard to mess one up when they're very good as far as their proportions and their soundness of feet and legs. Nice kind of a gilt there to feed on. That one is 40-7.
41-2 drops out. That's going to be a Culture Shock Wild Side. Mom would be a mate to the Reserve Heavy at Denver last year for Brigham Bunt and the Goss crew there. And this pig reminds me a ton of that barrow at this stage. The Culture Shock deal I think is really neat. I think this pig's stout scald. Offers a really good shape up high. He's big in his pin set, plenty heavy boned, and just super comfortable out here. Offers you extremely neat presence off to the side. I think this one will be fun in a Midwest State Fair setting.
Yeah, that's the first thing I put down was State Fair. You know, that one just looks like he's targeted for that size for that particular time, and do it in a fairly simple way to get it accomplished, because he's got a lot of stuff, but man, it's putting him right. You know, nothing's too far out of whack. Everything balances with the extra stoutness of feature that you need. A really good kind of ring presence when he comes in the gate with length of front and stoutness of skull. That is a good look coming at you. And then, again, a square kind of a chest floor and a square knee with the right kind of angle and set up front. Heavy structured, extra aesthetics of hair, a lot going on there too. And again, good turn and pliability to his rib and natural body shape in a boxy length of body type of situation. He pops with good loin edge working in him and going directly away. You can really see some stifle popping in him in a real manageable kind of fashion. He's got muscle volume with true shape. I mean, he's not too far off of being able to cut him and be ready to jackpot that one there down the road. That's coming here in the next month anyway. So I think we're going to be in good shape with that one early, often, and show him long. I think you're going to be very happy with that one. That one is 41-2.
41-4 drops out. She'd be a culture shock, wild side. Mom's a litter mate to the champion or reserve champion heavyweight at Denver last year for the bunts and the Goss crew there. I think this one's a really neat gild. Excited to see her drop out. I think she's stout about her skull. She's really opened up in her chest, plenty of muscle, but still offers you a really neat look for the side. And then just reminds me a ton of that Barra, just still so comfortable in her skeleton for how much mass and power that she offers.
Yeah, a great combination deal there. A lot of stuff and correctness. That is a really, really stout kind of a skull with a big set of bones, a strong set of feet with good kind of toe spread, or proportions from the side. Again, that boldness and stoutness coming at you impresses you out of the gate, and then she gets bulky and stout real quick as far as her turn to center rib and having a good chest for her, working in her. She's shorter and boxier in her length of the body with a good kind of turn of center, and she's very advanced in the amount of muscle volume and muscle shape she's got. She's bold down her top and good along her loin edge, and comes with muscle out the top of her blade, kind of like you'd like to see with that extra stoutness, but still very smooth in the way she blends there. She's bold hipped. I mean, that one's really got some stifle shape, but still able to manage it extremely well. Clean jointed, square hock, square rear ankle. Very, very good from that aspect. She's one that hits me as a very simple, easy feed. That, again, if you want to run that one dual purpose as a market gilt or a breeding gilt, I think you're going to get along very, very well. That painted up gilt there is 41-4.
41-5 drops out, and that's another culture shock, wild side. Mom would be a mate to the reserve heavy at Denver in 25 for Brigham Bun and the Goss crew there. This gilt's just stout skulled. She's got shape up high, and then super, super comfortable there as you get her out still in her skeleton. Good square gilt there. I think it's going to be really fun this summer.
Yeah, again, very ladylike in front of her blade. That extra extension and femininity that she's got impresses you from that aspect. And then, again, profile-wise, again, long-fronted, shorter, boxier bodied, with the right kind of length off of both ends. That one, again, looks like a simple feed. I know we're talking about a lot of the same things the same way, but they're consistent in their build. This one here is really neat looking. Looks like one you could push on and really bulk up. I mean, that one there is a very neat up high, but that is a huge set of bones, extra aesthetics of hair, big set of paws. That one's intriguing. Whether she's going to be a short lister or not, I don't know. We'll see what walks in the rest of these 80-some head in here. But if it's not on a short list, that was going to be a sleeper. That again, you need to pay attention to one like that, because that one come back and get in your way next summer if you're not driving her. That one's 41-5.
42-1 is going to be a Logic next intention. Mom would be a mate to the champion dark at San Antonio a couple years ago. Would have raised the grand there that we sold at Chosen Ones last year. Grand at Clearfield County for the Weiss crew. One that's just been a consistent generator. And I think this pig, I think he's going to be a good heavyweight, because he's a really neat looking one that's got muscle shape. He's heavy boned. He's real comfortable in his skeleton. I think when this one bodies and masses up, it's going to be pretty fun there.
Yeah, a little bigger on pounds for the group that you can roll out earlier. And, again, feeding style-wise, again, that one's one you can really pour the cold to and just go and mass him up. He's got indicators for stoutness of skull and length of front. I like his angle and set out of his shoulder, knee, and front foot, and the way he rolls out of his hip and really reaches and goes and squares up very good from that aspect. That's a really good kind of running gear. You get that kind of build, and then with all the different feed buckets you can pour to them there, you can again just get pretty creative and let that one mass up. All the stuff is there as far as his skeleton goes, and the indicators he's got with his running gear. Just bulk it up with the bucket, and you'll be very, very pleased. And you can roll that one out earlier, And again, as Garrett said, as a heavyweight, because the kind of length of body and kind of extension he's got, that's where he's going to look his very best. That's 42-1.
We drop out 43-1. That's going to be a clout picture this, never before. Mother here would actually raise the grand overall at Delaware State Fair last summer, and she would be a litter mate to the grand overall breeding gilt there at PA Youth Expo in 24. Done a really good job here. This is her second litter and has us certainly excited. I think these clout pigs, they look like the right kind to be there in the end, and I think they're going to make really good big ones. They remind us a lot of how our wide awake pigs fed just as far as just getting better and better with time. But I mean, I think they're on it today, and I think the skeletal correctness is there. I think the neat presence that these pigs offer, a very, very good look and build, and then just very balanced and proportional pig, I think fits in very well in a Midwest setting.
Yeah, really neat pig. I mean, that one there grabs your attention. He's got ring presence. That extension out in front of his blade, the way he cranks his head above his spine. He's a longer cannon bone and elevated off the ground and still in the right length of body. And he's not too stringy or anything like that. He's not that's not part of his vocabulary. That one's skull shape and look up front is really, really neat. I like the squareness of chest, elbow and knee up front, and then watching profile, man, that one's got a running gear that just doesn't quit. I mean, that one's one, again, because of the elevation he's got and the way he kind of tracks and squares up front. A heavy structure kind of a pig where everything matches and balances from the body line down, matches that good kind of look and boldness up high. He's got, again, that running gear with extra angle and flexibility of both ends where he reaches and goes. And with that kind of skeleton and that kind of maturity, looks like one you can really push on. And he's going to be one you could have a lot of fun with that one in a jackpot and weekly. But, man, when that one does hit the heavyweight range, and I think he's going to cruise right into that without really a lot of manipulation to be able to get him there. That's a very, very nice pig, high level for sure, 43-1.
$43.2 drops out. That's another clout. Picture this, never before. So Mom would have raised the grand overall at Delaware State Fair last summer. I think wins another county there. Mom would be a litter mate to the grand overall breeding gilt there at PA Youth Expo in 24. And this gilt's probably just the greenest, lightest on pounds today. Not one that's really wanting to get out and cooperate, but I think one, the fundamentals are there. I think structurally very, very correct. I think she's about bold in the top side of her skeleton there. She could give you a neat look off to the side when she wants to. I think one that just time on feet will continue to get better.
Yeah, just basics with eye appeal, and that takes you a long way when they're not messed up and they got a square build and they got a good sharp look and they got some shape and they got some soundness to them. Again, all the basics need to be covered early and no excuses, and there's no excuses needed for her. Good looking, extended up front, elevated with the right kind of proportions from the side. She just looks like a simple feed. Just keep her healthy and go. And you can do a lot of things with that one, and just kind of manage her and pace her like you need to, because I think she could take a lot of heat as far as protein goes, and you can build on that one and just kind of bulk her up and mass her up, because again, just kind of one of them solid, good-looking ones that has that eye appeal and balance. Again, be a very simple feed. If you've not fed one before, you could feed this one. Can't mess one like that up. That's 43-2.
$43.3 drops out, and this is a clout. Picture this. Never before goes back to that really good never before sow there. Her mom, or the mother of these, would actually raise the grand overall at Delaware State Fair last summer in her first litter, and I think she's off to a really hot start again there. These clout pigs are neat, and that litter last year was wide awake, so we kind of stuck in the similar line there, and just looked like the kind that are going to be really good when they get big. And I think this gilt's skull shape is very, very stout. I think she's opened up. I think she's long in her hip, and gives you a really neat look from the side, a very good presence that she has, and I'm excited about these 43s to see how they get along this summer.
Yeah, really a lady. That one really has a killer look out of her front end, extra extended. I mean, stoutness of skull, neat kind of a jaw line, but really good extension out in front of her blade. That's a long fronted kind of a pig that really gives you that look right out of the gate. And again, when she cranks her head, she exposes that square chest and that good elbow and knee coming right at you from the side. Man, she's elevated and sleek up front. She's the right length of body. I wouldn't call her short body, but she's not too long body. She's a balanced, a proportionate kind of a hog from the side. Man, that one is green and immature, but really stout in her feature. She's got the extra aesthetics of hair, heaviness of structure, with really good flex and reach off of both ends. You're going to have a lot of fun with that one, again, through her show career. But when that one gets to be a big one, that 285 to 375 type of deal, I think everything's really going to come together on that one. She's going to be ultra impressive. Killer kind of a sow to put back in. Looks like a generator. Return on investment. Again, just keep going with the positives as you can talk about that one. That's 43-3.
43-4 on the stick there, the solid black gilt. Again, going to be a clout. Picture this, never before. Mom, in her first litter last summer, would have raised the grand overall at Delaware State Fair, and she's off to a really hot start again. I think this is a deep, very consistent litter, and got a pile of gilts. This one's sharp looking. Off to the side. She's stout in her skull work. She gets just very balanced and proportional. I think her length of hips very, very good, and I think this gilt's got a really bright future this summer. Excited to see her.
Yeah, again, we always have the discussion about the color pattern stuff. Again, she's all black, and if that doesn't bother you, which it shouldn't, the good pigs are good pigs. That's a nice one. You know, she's middle sized to maybe a little bigger than middle size for the group of where he's selling them, and figure out what you need to do there. Man, she proportions right. Again, awesome kind of skull shape. I love her angle and set out of her shoulder, knee, and front foot. I mean, some of these hogs are getting too far forward, and this one is laid in with a real comfort level. When she comes at you, she squares up really good as she comes at you. She's very good at her angles and her set and her reach from the side. And then her proportions are good as far as elevation up front in respect to where she is otherwise in a shorter box or length of body with the right kind of length of hip with good kind of reach. Real feedable kind of a hog. She's starting to get some turn along her longer loin edge, and she's starting to build a square kind of a hip working in her, but a real feedable one that I think you can push on that one very creatively and just kind of build and mass her and get her packing more punch as she goes. That kind of maturity and with that kind of pedigree, it's all in there. That's 43-4.
$43.5 drops out, belted gilt here, and that's another clout. Be a clout. Picture this, never before, and this one's mom would have raised the grand overall at Delaware State Fair last year, and had a really good run. And I think you can see why they're skeletally just put together correct. I think this gilt is very balanced and proportional. Paints a really neat picture. Stout about her head, and I think the generator look to her. I think this gilt continues to feed and just get really good. And we've got some probably some of the earlier clouts than anybody. Some of those Septembers, and we've got them on feed, and I think they've turned the corner, and I think look extremely good, and I think like they're going to be the right kind when it comes time to play big ball, and I think just their proportions and skeleton read right, just going to get them to the finish line.
Yeah, good belted gilt. Again, has a really neat kind of a look up front. Again, sharp and distinct looking, elite out of her front end as far as have the femininity and extension she's got in front of her blade. Again, another one, I know it's repetitive, but square chested, square in her knee, plants a good foot up front. Another one from the side. The proportions really good. Again, just easy on the eyes, you know, and we're in a visual business. You got to have something that draws your attention. That kind of front end and that kind of build that she's got with the squareness and soundness that she's got. And looks like one, again, that you can just feed real creatively on that. Again, this clout pedigree, I was talking to Garrett about that off screen here. You know, those hogs, early, they're very, very green, kind of like the Wide Awakes. You know, you kind of look at them and, well, let's see what they do. Well, we saw what the Wide Awakes do, and I think we're going to see exactly that same kind of pattern in the clouts. Interesting belted gilt there. That's 43.5.
$43.6 drops out. It's going to be a clout. Picture this, never before. Mom would have raised the grand overall at Delaware State Fair last summer. She'd also be a litter mate to the grand overall breeding gilt there at PA Youth Expo in 24. And I think a really neat gilt. I think she's stout featured. She's stout about her skull. Just reads like a generator. Her hips long. She's super comfortable. Her bones are big. I'm excited about the future of this one there. And that's 43-6.
Yeah, I like her quite a bit. Again, she's got a little more pounds to work with than a few of them we've done. And man, I mean, truthfully, she's just stick a little shine on her. She's ready to go to a jackpot show, and she's probably not quite ready to do a market gilt scenario, but I think it's within her realm. If you want to have a market gilt type of deal at your county or a jackpot scenario, you can surely do that. But man, that one there is a breeding hog deluxe. You know, that one's skull shape, incredible generator look out of her front end. That one's rimmed to her snout and broadness of forehead and right kind of jawline. A long ways from tip of her nose back to her blade, and then look at her angles and set. I just love that shoulder set, the way she lays back shoulder to knee and front foot with a stout set of paws and good pasterns. She's really correct in her design as far as the way everything proportions from the side, and then just look at her comfort level. Man, that one there gets out and really reaches and goes and just does not have a tight or uncomfortable joint in her body. Really good as far as her squareness, a build through the center portion of her body and a rib cage, a real square kind of a hipped hog that is real feedable that you can really push on. That one I would venture to say is going to get herd from. And, man, again, talking enough about return on investment and what you can do in your own sow herd when you get one built like that with a pedigree like this, it's endless what you can get accomplished with one like that. That's 43-6.
44-2. This would be a hotbed. Buckle up next intention, never before sissy. I think the sow, she'd have been got a piece of her division there at Pale for Riley Ewing there. Mom would be a litter mate to the grand overall PA Farm Show that year, and had another barrow that was reserve at Amarillo. I think an extremely neat prospect, whether you're boar shopping or barrow shopping. I think this one's high end. He's wild looking up front, and he puts everything together. He's got a huge forearm. He's super comfortable. I think he gets out and just kind of motors, but just offers you just a high presence there, just a really elite one from the side.
Yeah, I like having a good deal. Getting the smaller on pounds, figure out what you want to do there. That one, I don't know where he starts as a lightweight, but that one's going to be fun whenever you decide to show, and they'll create a hog show for a pig like that. That's a very good one. It has a very cocky, exotic, elite kind of a front end, high-headed, and that jaw line popping out of the front end of that hog with the head carriage coming out of the top of his blade is really impressive. That kind of a neat look, and then that kind of a set of bones and body. That one is really good as far as squareness, chest, elbow, knee and front foot. A huge set of bones, pound for pound, one of the heaviest structure we have looked at today, and we've seen a lot of bone. That one has a really good set of running gear as far as angles and set and reach. Watching profile, again, high-headed, cocky-looking, elevated with a shorter box here, more moderate length of body with a very square kind of a hip. A lot of upside. Definitely see a boar or barrow prospect working in that one. Some hogs have to go one way or the other. This one is good enough in about every area. He could fit the bill about any direction. Like those hotbed pigs extremely well. And that one there is one of the high end ones I've looked at. That one is 44-2.
44-3 drops out. That's going to be a hotbed. Buckle up, next intention, never before sissy. Mom would be a mate to the grand overall barrow there at PA Farm Show in 24. Would have had the reserve grand at Amarillo that same year as well. And then mother also got shown by Riley Ewing, got a piece of her division there at Pale. I think this is an extremely neat prospect there, one that's extremely tall-shouldered and really elevated, stout-featured one that offers a ton of extras, and I think this one needs to find a state fair somewhere because I think his look and just presence off to the side is truly elite, and I think does a lot of really good things.
Yeah, again, smaller one on pounds with a really good kind of build and a really good kind of presence. That one there combines, again, that extremely neat, slick look up front and then a big set of bones, and the right kind of build. Elevation up off the ground, a cocky kind of look up front, good set and angle up front, big set of bones and feet, strong pasterns, and again, watching profile, tall-shouldered, extended, but still the right length of the body, just middle of the road on length of the body between that, and then to watch his flexibility and his ability to reach and go and maintain that kind of squareness throughout. He's a greener patterned hog in his muscle. I think he's spot on as far as just being one, if you like to pour the coal to him and really build him and go. He looks like the kind you can get that done with. He's not out of whack any place as far as being too far. He's just green, immature, and looks like one that, again, you can get creative and push on and just go. That'll be a very, very fun one. And I think he's got that extra look and extension to where he's one that could fit a heavyweight type of scenario if you kind of pace that one and time him right. That one is 44-3.
44-4 drops out. She's going to be a hotbed. Buckle up, next intention, never before. Mom would be a mate to the Grand Barrow at Farm Show in 24. would have been made to another one that was reserve at Amarillo. We would have sold it established. I think this whole litter's been dang good, and Sal's off to a really hot start. This is a wild-looking one that's stout-skulled, and then just super, super comfortable. Length of hips real good, and she just wants to motor. I think this one will be a high-end prospect there for a fall, or you want to run jackpots earlier than that, you certainly can, but I think the ceiling's pretty high on these 44s.
Yeah, I mean, that one stretches right on through the end of the fall. I mean, like Kansas City, Louisville type of thing, and I don't think without any hesitation. I mean, it's very realistic, and that's a good pig, awesome kind of a skeleton that, again, everything fits, balances, angles, flexes every direction, north and south is supposed to, and it squares up on the corners in a real feedable type of fashion. I don't know what more you can really say that, just throw the positive adjectives to it. High-headed, extended fronted, generating looking kind of skull with a stout kind of a jawline. Running gear to die for, good set and reach off of both ends. She's shorter and boxier in the center of it, and long on both ends and levels with the right kind of correctness. And I think that one's again is going to be the right kind of bone work with a clean set of joints. Again, lots of upside on a show gilt that I think you could show her early, show her often, take her on into a big scenario, a 350 plus. She's going to handle it really well and handle it in stride. And then just whatever you're going to do with her as far as return on investment or sow herd, she's got all those things written all over. Very nice prospect, 44-4.
44-4 drops out. That's another hotbed. Buckle up, next intention, never before. And that mother would be a mate to the Grand Barrow there at the PA Farm Show in 24. Had another one when we sold it at established, would have been reserve at Amarillo that year. And just goes back to all of our really good stuff. And I think this litter, as they just continue to drop out, a ton of quality. There's nothing kept back. There's not a bad one in the bunch. I love these pigs. I think they're stout in their skull work. I think they offer just a ton of extras as far as just look and dimension. And you get them off to the side, I think they balance and proportion extremely well, and just bold with a lot of extras there. That's 40-4.
Yeah, another one, again, from a tremendous litter with tons of quality, and each of them are just a shade different, and I think it's a good thing. They don't need to be cookie cutter. That one there's got more advancement of muscle and more advancement of just a sheer density of skeleton. That is a really stout skull. That is a very wide square chest, but still very intact and square in his elbow, perfect in his knee. Has good set and angle out of his shoulder, knee, and front foot, and plants a big paw with good pasterns. He's got a lot of turn to his rib and center body to him, a lot of real shape and density through that build. Man, he's got a lot of spread up high, really comes with muscle out the top of his blade and takes it right on back into a big, expressive kind of a loin edge. And then he's got muscle behind. I mean, that dog's got a really good kind of squareness of muscle, and it, again, doesn't impede anything. Very comfortable, sets, angles, reaches the way he needs to. Not much guesswork in that one. I mean, he's not real big on pounds, but, man, that one's got a lot of stuff. It's done in I think, the right kind of balance, the right kind of eye appeal, the right amount of stuff, and really, really good squareness. Really neat pig there. That's 44-4 male.
Get into a new pen here. This is 44-7 on the stick now. She would be a hotbed, buckle up, next intention, never before sissy. So really neat pedigree, and goes back to a lot of our great stuff there. Her mom would have got a piece of her division there for Riley Ewing at the PA Youth Expo 2 years ago, and then she'd actually be a litter mate to the grand overall at Pennsylvania Farm Show, the barrow there. And there was another barrow that was reserve grand at Amarillo. So real good sow, real good pedigree, real good pig. I think this one's stout skulled, and she's elevated, but super, super heavy duty. She's got a huge forearm working in her, a heavy boned one. I think is going to be fun.
Yeah, I really like that one again, and she's one of the smaller ones on pounds we've viewed. And man, you can run that one several different ways through the summer, but I don't know where the end point of that thing is. I mean, that one rolls on through the fall with no hesitation, and she's going to be impressive doing it. She's not just going to show up. She's going to be there to try to win it. I mean, that kind of feature she's got, extremely tall-fronted, very generating looking out of her skull. That one looks like a killer kind of a sow that could build one in the next generation, but impress you in the ring, too, and to give you the presence and eye appeal that that you're looking for. Heavy boned, a really good set and angle from shoulder to knee and front foot. Big set of paws, good pasterns, huge set of bones, and a good clean set of joints. When you watch her profile. Again, tall shoulders, stout fronted. She's perfect length of body, just middle of the road, a more moderate in her length of body. Great big stout kind of a hind leg and knows what to do with it. And she's, you can see indicator-wise, skull shape, bone work, tail root, all that stuff is real stout. A lot of upside, long show career on that one. I don't know where that one ends up, but again, return on investment on one like that to resell or stick her back in the sow herd, you really can't lose on that one. That one's 44.7.
44-8 drops out. Another hotbed. Buckle up. Next intention, never before sissy. So really good pedigree with that one. Mom's a litter mate to the grand overall at PA Farm Show, and 24 would have had another one that out of that litter was reserve at Amarillo. Just goes back to a really good sow line there, and I think this one is the stoutest featured probably of any of the 44s. I think a huge four-armed one there, just a ton of muscle, big in her pin set there. I think one that looks like a generator as far as from a sow standpoint of having muscle, but I think will be a neat one in the market setting as well as a show gilt.
Yeah, real dense featured. There's a lot of hog there. That one has an awesome looking kind of a skull, the right kind of head shape and size to kind of look like a good show hog and fit that freshness pattern over a longer period of time. Very neat and good looking up front. And then there's lots of bulk behind it. I mean, that is a big shoulder blade, a big turn to a barrel-shaped rib, a lot of natural body shape, and she's got real stuff. That hog's got a boatload of muscle down her top, really a sharp kind of a loin edge, and it's a broad, wide hog with a lot of spread up high, stifle shape, and just bulk of muscle and true shape going directly away is abundant. And truthfully, she's going to be better just taking her off the feeder and kind of slow rolling her and backing off the protein a little bit is where she's going to kind of come back to square one. Then you can do lots of different things and push and pull on that one. She's got, with the density of muscle she's got, I think she's got hold in her all day long of what you want to do with her and kind of pace her accordingly. Definitely looks like a market gilt coming right out of the gate that first jackpot weekend. And again, just your feeding program and mellow some things, and you can roll that one a long time in a breeding type scenario also. That's 44-8.
44-10 drops out. She's going to be a hotbed. Buckle up, next intention, never before. So her mother would be a litter mate to the grand overall at PA Farm Show. And in 24, I would have had another brother. We would have sold it established that was reserve at Amarillo. I think these 44s are just extremely fun to look at and study, and I love a lot of things about this gilt. She's stout skulled, she's got a big forearm working in her, and then you just get her off to the side, and she's just elegant and looks like a lady and just so comfortable out here. I think length of hips extremely good, and I think like I said before, I think the future, especially on into fall, is extremely bright with these gilts, and then ultimately someone's going to have some really nice sow prospects to kick through.
Man, what a quality litter that we've looked at here. And this one is unique in her own way. She's got a little different skull shape, and I mean, they've all been good, but they're all just a shade different. This one's got a real generator look out of her skull. That's a broad forehead, a bold, stout kind of a jawline. I like her proportions extremely well. That stoutness up front with length and look. Man, she's elevated. She's heavy bone, pound for pound, one of the real heavy bone ones we looked at. She's shorter and boxier in her length of body in between things. And man, she's good in her angles and set with that kind of heaviness of structure and that much stuff. She still angles and flexes just perfectly, just exactly like you'd like to see it. Different kind of a color pattern, black front-legged hog. It's very easy to gravitate to. Good kind of a prospect there, and again, I can see that one stretching basically the end of the year there too, right on through Louisville there in November, and that one is going to be incredibly impressive when she goes ahead and finishes up. And again, I don't know where she's going to end up in a sow lot, but that one's going to be heard from. I think that one's got lots of upside in a lot of different ways. 44-10.
45-2 is going to be a Logic out for blood. I would have picked up this one's mom there at LSU last year from the Fontenot crew, and she's off to a hot start. I think this one's just tall-shouldered and just wild-looking up on the front side, front one-third of his skeleton. He ties out real high. I think the right kind of angle and proportions, super comfortable one out here. I think he's going to have a fun summer.
Yeah, awesome feeder. He knows he's a good pig. He's cocky. He cranks that head up and does it real comfortably. And again, everything blends and fits out of that head carriage and neck design that he's got in a very exotic kind of a look. Tall shouldered, a really good kind of reach and flex out of his front end, and squares up good in his chest and stays square in his knee. Again, he profiles that elevation extension up front combined with a really level design and a really level, flexible kind of a hip and hind leg set. Just makes for a good run in the show barn as far as being able to feed a problem-free one that you really got a lot of excitement about of the extras that he's going to contribute. That one is 45-2.
45-3, Calico Male drops out. He'd be a logic out for blood. I would have picked up this one's mother there at LSU last year from Fontenot crew, and has done a really good job so far. And I've seen a lot of these logic pigs in my travel, and it look like the right kind that I think they're gonna have a fun summer, because I think skeletons read right, and then they just offer a lot of extras. I think this barrow gives you a real wild look from the side. Real extended one that's stout in his skull, still big in his hip and big in his bone work, and then just very genuine and comfortable. Looks like the right kind of proportions.
Yes, a good proportion kind of a pig that's again three-dimensional and stout. He's got some density to him. He's not quite as green as some, but yet he's not round or tight or mature any place. He's just got more to him. He's a little different kind. You probably feeding style-wise go mid-pace on him. It's probably going to be optimal. Don't think you have to yank back on him and just go real slow, but if you need to, he's got the ability to do that, because I do think he's got some hold in him. Very good as far as his stoutness of skull. Very, very bold in his chest floor and his rib shape. Lots of turn to natural center rib. He's got more pliability and truth center body and just guts. He's just got more stuff to be able to bulk up, and he's advanced from that aspect. He's heavy structured and again propped up on his toes where he needs to be, but not straight fronted or wrong any place. Everything fits and balances with the right kind of reach and squareness. He's got muscle volume in a probably not quite as sharp a tone or shape as what maybe you're going to finish up with, but again you can do that with a bucket. Just sharpen his edge, his loin edge in him, and sharpen his stifle there with the amount of protein you're going to be able to push on that one. Again, a three-dimensional stout, bold kind of a hog that really fits a nice bill for just a good feeding style pig that again had a lot of upside on that one too. That one is 45-3.
45-4 here, belted male pig on the screen now. Be a logic out for blood, and would have picked up the mother of this one there at LSU last year off of Fontenots, and I think a really neat prospect, and she's done a really good job so far. This one's sharp looking, and like many of the logics I've seen this spring, just look like the kind that are going to feed and be fun, and I think offer a lot of the extras, because he gives you a neat look from the side. He's got a big arm, very comfortable and athletic skeleton.
Yeah, high-level show bearer right there. I mean, comes out and really struts his stuff coming in the ring, cranks his head up and squares up in his chest floor when he pops that head and shows that chest floor off and the squareness he's got in his build coming at you, and then really proportionate kind of a bone work down low to match everything we're seeing up high, and again angles and flexes and reaches off of both ends the way he needs to, and then just watch his build. Again, cranks his head up, tall shouldered, level design, very flexible, starts with a good kind of flare and muscularity through his upper hip, maintains that down low in a real feedable type of fashion. He's not too far advanced anywhere. That just looks like an awesome kind of a feeder with a tremendous amount of upside of what you might be able to get accomplished with that one in the ring. That one is 45-4.
45-6 drops out. A very intriguing prospect there. Is going to be a logic out for blood, and would have picked up this one's mom there at LSU last year from Fontenots, and I think off to a hot start there. I think this gilt's stout featured, bold back, huge forearm, a real comfortable one, just extremely exotic from the side. Looks like the kind I think you could get out in a jackpot next week and have a real fun run at it, and I think you could continue that run on into the fall.
Well, we're not only going to make them like black pigs after this set of pigs, we're going to make them like cheetahs too, because I think we've got a really good one there to look at. And again, a little bit of a disadvantage. I don't know what's coming, but they just keep rolling out here, and then you just keep kind of readjusting in your mind, your list you're going to put together. Man, that's a good hog. I mean, truth, she's ready. I mean, that one there, just shine her and take her to a jackpot show tomorrow, and I mean, it's there. She's got all the stuff, but yet she's not mature. I mean, that is a good look out of a front end, but a lot of bulk and a lot of density, a lot of stoutness up. Great big barrel-shaped kind of a rib, and still squares really good in her chest and knee and front foot. Man, she proportions so good and keeps that density all the way back through. Barrel-shaped rib, really good turn to her body, and perfect middle-of-the-road length of body. And then watch her running gear. With that much stuff, to be able to have that kind of set of angles and reach and comfort level is unparalleled. I mean, that one there from end to end is just an incredibly stout one. Proportions are great. She's got gobs of muscle, but done in a right fashion. Very square, very bulky, very neat looking. She's one that you can take her a dual purpose, market gilt, breeding gilt, whatever you want to do. Return on investment on one like that, I think, is tremendous. And again, I'd have a hard time probably selling her at the end of the season. I'd probably have to go back and think about putting the right semen in that one and try to build one next generation. That's a very special kind of a spotted up gilt there in 45-6.
45-7 on the stick now. Be a Logic out for blood, a calico gilt there. This sow actually would have originated from our friends in Louisiana there, Fontenot's, and I would have bought her at that Cajun Classic there last year, and I thought was one from just an incredible specimen as far as just structure and skeleton, and I think you could see that portrayed into these 45s. I think this 45-7 is extremely wild looking. She's way, way, way elevated above her blade, and one that I think ties in real neat. I think one that is going to have a bright future whenever that is, and it could be in that August or September setting, but I think when she bodies up, I think she's going to be extremely cool because everything fits. She's stout. On the top side there, just needs some time to generate some body and stuff there, but 45-7.
Yeah, neat pig. Get smaller on pounds. And what we cut? What's this one's already got a name? Cheetah Puff? Is that what it was? Cheetah Puff. So your kids even already have a name for it if you choose to use it. So just buy that one and have a good time with it. And I tell you, you're not just going to show up and participate. You got a chance to win something with this one because she's a good pig. Again, if her size suits you, I wouldn't be afraid to feed one like that any day. You know, that one there is one of the most exotic fronted ones probably we've looked at today. That one is, you hear him talk about giraffe necked and cobra necked or whatever. That one cranks her whole entire head and neck above her spine comfortably, and I mean literally almost runs uphill. And then watch her strut. I mean, she can get out there, crank that head and roll and take that bold step up front. She squares up extremely good behind. She's not bulky and dense. So she's green, immature, and has an awesome kind of a look and the right kind of proportion. That's a lot of upside. We're making fun of her color, but that's a unique kind of a pig that's, again, got extremely high kind of quality. That one, you don't buy that. You show her or show against her. That's what you got to do. So, I mean, that's going to be one I think is going to be a very intriguing kind of a pig. That's 45-7.
45-8, be a Logic out for blood. Mom will be a gilt that we picked up there at LSU last year from Fontenot's and has done a really good job so far. I think this gilt's extremely exotic looking from the side. Another one just really, really elevated, ties out of the top side of her skeleton with some class, and I think a stout skulled one there. I think with time just going to continue to body up and be a neat one there this late summer and fall.
Yeah, it just looks like a good heavyweight. Again, one that's never going to be an ugly one. Always going to be good looking and neat and cocky up through her front end. Very good femininity and just ring presence coming out of the gate. She's elevated, extended, and she's greener pattern. Looks like one, again, as you go ahead and bulk her with the bucket, is one that should have the kind of the growth curve to be able to get to that heavyweight scenario and fit the bill. She's not going to quit on you on frame size or ability to actually get extension and elevation. She's going to fit that ring and in a heavyweight type of scenario, and I think do it in a big time way. She's greener in her pattern, but still her build is really good as far as her squareness and her reach and all the things fit with the right kind of balance and nothing that you really have to make any excuses for any place. Just kind of push on her, feed on her, bulk her up, get her fattened up, and she'll be a really neat kind of a show pig. That one is 45-8. 45-9 drops out. It's going to be a Logic
out for blood. And this mother we would have picked up from LSU last year from the Fontenot crew, and off to a really hot start. I think that litter as a whole has been extremely good, and I think this gilt continues that trend. She's tall-shouldered and elevated, ties out of the top side of her skeleton really high. You get her off to the side. I think she paints a really neat picture and just super, super athletic off of both ends of her skeleton.
Yeah, she's another one that just, again, green, immature, good-looking, that looks like you can really pour the cold to her and build her into a tremendous kind of a heavyweight. The type of length of cannon and elevation she has off the ground, and the type of length of body with the extension she's got, again, makes you think that one is going to be the very best down the road as a heavy. You'll have to be a little patient with her to start with. She's probably not going to be the one that's going to win your first jackpot show of season, but it's usually the ones that get better each and every week, and as you kind of build them a piece at a time, everything should hold together really well. Good looking, elevated, cocky, elevated off the ground with squareness of build in a greener type of fashion. You just fatten her up and bulk her up. I think she can accommodate whatever you want to throw at her as far as a feeding style. She's just green and square built, very, very correct. 45-9.
47-1 drops out, and that's going to be a hotbed next intention, never before sissy. Mom will be a mate to next to none there. That's been a big generating boar here and will be a full sib to the champion dark at San Antonio. This male pig drops out, and I love a lot of things about this one. He proportions so good. He's stout about his skull. He's opened up in his chest, and I think like we alluded to on a couple of the others, I think we're probably doing you a favor by selling these a little early because I think they're just continuing to at that stage bulk and flesh. These will be the youngest pigs in the sale, and I think have an extremely bright future.
Yeah, another one that, again, just correct as a skeleton. Everything balances and fits in him just like you'd like to see. He's a little more, he's a few pounds heavier, obviously, and he's a little more advanced in his shape and just the amount of stuff that he's got, but still green and immature. Good looking up front, really good kind of a exotic kind of a jawline and neat look, cranks his head above his spine really comfortably. That is an incredibly heavy structured hog with great big paws and strong pasterns. Again, tall-shouldered, level design, and with extremely good correctness down his top line, and levelness of hip is very good. Great big stout kind of a hind leg that flexes his hock the way he needs to, and he squares it up again just exactly like you'd like to see. He's not bulky and round anywhere. He's immature and green, but there you can see the stuff building in him with the indicators he's got. That one's going to be an ultra fun one to feed. The size fits you on that one for where you need to show. That I definitely stick that one on a very short list. That's 47-1.
47-2 drops out. It's going to be a hotbed. Next intention would go back to the never before sissy sow, and Mom will be a mate to next to none. I think this prospect's extremely neat. I think she's wild looking and just so comfortable and genuine. These 47s are the youngest pigs that you'll see in the sale, and maybe we push the envelope a hair and probably would have got more return if we sold them a little bit later because I think they're extremely nice. I think this one just reads like she's going to be extremely fun this fall and just puts a ton of good things together. That's 47-2.
Yeah, she's one again. Take advantage of this because Garrett's doing you guys a favor and not allowing these things to be the big, bulky, stout ones in 2 or 3 weeks from now because that's exactly what's going to happen to one like this. I mean, that one there is extremely good built. Awesome skeleton, running gear is tremendous, cranks her head above her spine, really extended and ladylike out in front of her blade. Man, she's laid back and set good in her shoulder, knee, and front foot. Very good proportionate set of bones with a clean set of joints, long-fronted, long hip with really good reach and angle, and then boxy and short in the middle of their skeleton to kind of make that thing balance and be an easy feed and easy push. That one is a green in her build, very good in her squareness of skeleton from end to end with a perfect set of angles. A lot of upside on that one. Again, I don't know where she lands on a short list, but she's going to be somewhere toward the top end. That's 47-2.
47-3 on the stick now, and that's another hotbed on a next intention sow, be a litter mate to next to none there that's still hanging around and has generated some state fair champions over the years, a lot of county winners as well. This gilt, I think, is really neat as far as just being stout in her skull. These are the youngest pigs that we have in the sale there, but I think this one, probably the most fleshy of any of those 47s we'll see, comes with some bulk mass and dimension there. I think she just reads stout in her skull and then just super comfortable and athletic. Not one that wants to cooperate a ton out here, but I think you could see, I think the future is really bright for this gilt, and I think has a ton of sow value there after you're done.
Yeah, one, again, smaller on pounds for the group and figure out where you need to go. That one proportions extremely good to me. Again, tall fronted, stout skulled with a good kind of length to front. I think she is one that is very heavy structured that you probably don't appreciate the kind of bone work that she does have because she's more elevated and it's a little longer set of bones. She's boxier and shorter in her length of body between that length of front and length of hip that she's got. Just a good skeleton hog. It's built extremely square. Proportions very good from the side. I like her turn she's got in her center in a green type of fashion where you really can kind of mass her up over a period of time. You're going to be very pleasantly pleased with what you get done there almost overnight and what you get accomplished with massing that one up. That one is 47-3.
47-4 drops out. It's going to be a hotbed on 86.9, which is a next intention sow, and she'd go back to the never before sow. She'd also be a full sib to the champion dark at San Antonio a couple years ago. I think these 47s, I think the youngest pigs that we have in the sale, and definitely a little greener than some of the rest. But I think angle and proportions read right. I think they're stout about their skull, really opened up in their chest, just super comfortable and athletic. I think you'll see that with all these 47s.
Yeah, that one, one of the smaller ones we've looked at, and truthfully, she's going to be under the radar. That's not going to be the one you're just going to walk in here and say, wow, look at that one. But that one there, again, being smaller and more immature, again, a lot of times when we roll some of these bigger pigs out of the pen on a feeder type of setting and you get them out of the way, have another sale in 2 weeks, this will be the stud out of the group. That one there will bulk up and mass up almost overnight. That kind of build and proportion is just indicative of what you want to try to get to on one to just push on. Skull shape, length of front, elevation, the flexibility of structure is really good. Tall shouldered, almost runs uphill, extremely flexible spine, level hip with the extra good reach off of both ends. She squares up from end to end. Good kind of pliability of center in a real green type of a pattern that, again, you can get real creative and just feed on that one, just let her grow and develop into what she can be. And I think that is a really good-looking heavyweight kind of gilt where everything comes together when it needs to. That's 47-4.
I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thanks, Jim, here for coming out and doing the preview with us. This set of pigs will sell on March 7th. Be a live sale here at the farm. We call Excellence Creates Opportunity. This will be our 25th year of doing sales and being in operation, and really look forward to this set. I think there's 80 to 90 pigs that we'll offer with a wide range from anywhere from June through, I think, honestly, all on into the fall and the end of October with a lot of versatility to this set.
Yeah, I really appreciate the chance. We've been trying to do this for a couple, 3 years, and I mean he's a long ways east, but it's worth the trip, and we're glad we got to do it. Man, Garrett has put together a really good program here, and he and his dad have been in this thing a long time. You sell Ralph Seaman a long time ago, and so again, they're just continuously making better each and every year. Man, they're hitting the sales season and down south and hitting in a very big time way, and these hogs are hitting premium sale at the majors. So again, just because he's far east does not mean he's not mainstream. These hogs are very, very good. We have probably this set probably has the widest variety of size of anything I've worked. I mean, some very, very big pigs of very high quality to go early, and those things are getting hard to find. And we got them to string right on down through the fall, and truthfully, some of these gilts are right on through Louisville in November, and I mean in a big time way, not just qualifiers, but I mean something you can grab a backdrop with. I think pretty easily. Very good quality set, all crosses, 80 plus head going to be offered in that live sale format. If we can help assist you at all and try to guide you a direction that would make a better project for you, be glad.